All right. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Economy Foundation course. I hope you can all see and hear me. I'm good. I hope you're also good, and all of you are also doing well. Right. So, yesterday we had studied till inflation. Now we are going to carry on from that and actually study a little bit about money. So far, we have not read about money in detail. We have just understood what is demand of money, supply of money, etc. We will now go into those topics in detail. And now we will establish the link between inflation and money. That linkage has not been established yet. That is what is the purpose of today's class. Now, today's class will actually be something that will teach you to become a much better investor in life. If you can implement, I will not tell you how, that you have to understand by yourself. But if you can actually implement the things that I'm teaching you, you can make much more money through your investments than you are currently. Right? How, I will not tell you. That is something for you to figure out. But you will understand how investments are actually made. If you think, most people who invest in the stock market are people who do not understand this logic, and they are merely lucky when they make money in the stock market. They are not actually understanding why money goes up or down, or why the values of any stock or bond or land go up or down. Most people think that value of land will go up, let's say for example, when a highway is constructed close to that land. They will not understand why actually value of land will go up or go down. Okay, that is what we are going to understand today. Okay, so firstly, in today's class, we are firstly going to start with the topic of money. This is what we are going to start with. Now, in this chapter of money, what we have to understand is firstly the demand of money, the supply of money. Then from demand and supply of money, we will come to price of money, and then we will come to decisions to control the price of money. Right? We have already read that the price of money is interest rates. This we know already. है ना? Now, how I can control the price of money and how it further leads to an impact on my economy, this is what we have to understand in this chapter. Now, let's say that money becomes cheaper. If money becomes cheaper, am I more likely or less likely to spend it? If money becomes cheaper, am I more likely or less likely to spend it? What do you think? If money becomes cheaper, I am more likely to spend it. Money becoming cheaper meaning price of money going down. Price of money is interest rates. Interest rates going down. Interest rates going down means I am more likely to spend money. If I am more likely to spend money, which is cheap, I will increase the aggregate demand. Remember that interest rates had impact on two components of aggregate demand, that is consumption and investment. So money becomes cheap, I am more likely to spend it. If I am more likely to spend it, then aggregate demand will increase. Aggregate demand increases, this generally leads to an increase in the price levels. I am just giving you an overview of this entire chapter. This chapter will take 3 to 4 classes for us to finish. I'm just giving you an overview of what we are going to read here. Money becomes cheaper. If something is cheap, I am more likely to spend it. If money becomes expensive, I will hold on to it. Expensive money will be more dear to me. If money is more expensive, it is dear to me, then I am less likely to spend it. If I am less likely to spend money that is expensive, that means aggregate demand of the economy will go down. Money is expensive, meaning interest rates have gone up. Interest rates have gone up, money has become expensive. Money has become expensive, that means I will spend it less. I am less likely to spend it. If I am less likely to spend, the aggregate demand in the economy goes down. If aggregate demand in the economy goes down, price levels go down, and I'm able to control inflation. This entire logic, this should be apparent to you even now. आपको इनमें से कुछ बात गलत नहीं लग रही होगी. Now in the next few classes we are going to understand this logic. Understand this logic through a mathematical sense. This is just an overview of what we are going to learn. Now, how does money become expensive or cheap? And how I can make money more expensive or cheap, that we will understand. And then its effect on aggregate demand, and finally its effect on price levels. These are things we are going to learn, right? Now, सबसे पहले let's understand. Now in this chapter, first we'll understand why does money exist in the economy. Why do we have money? क्या जरूरत है मनी रखने की, सबसे पहले हम ये समझेंगे. Then from here we will understand the demand of money, the supply of money. Once I understand the demand and supply of money, I will then understand the price of money. Then I will understand how I can change the price of money and what impact do these changes have on the economy. Me changing the price of money is policy regarding to money. It is, if I am trying to change the price of money, if I am trying to change the price of money, I am trying to make a policy that impacts money. This exact thing, my attempts to change the price of money, is what is known as monetary or money related policy. I will try to change the price of money to have certain impact on the economy. Before I go on to change the price of money, I must understand the demand of money and the supply of money. Only once I understand the demand and supply of money can I then change the price. नहीं तो मुझे समझ ही नहीं आएगा price change कैसे हो रहा है. So in this chapter, our main work is to understand the demand and supply of money. Before we understand the demand and supply of money, we have to understand why there is money in the economy. इसकी जरूरत ही क्यों है? इसके बिना काम नहीं चलता क्या? This is the overview of the chapter we are going to read. This will take us 3 to 4 classes, and this probably may be the end of this week. And this chapter is the most important chapter as far as prelims is concerned, because this chapter deals with 3 things: money, monetary policy, and banking. These 3 things will be dealt with in this chapter, and till the end of this week, these are the things we are going to study. Now, in the last class, I had given you certain homework. मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि आप लोगों ने कर लिया होगा. नहीं किया तो बता दो. But I hope you would have done it. There is only one thing that I think was worth explaining from those notes, and that was stagflation. Now, पहले ये इसकी बात करते हैं. Let's talk of stagflation first, and then we will continue and understand the other things that we had to study right now. Stagflation, generally when we see there is a, in the economy, there is a inflation growth trade-off. ये बात हमने देखी है ऑलरेडी. देयर इज जनरली, और ये न्यूज में भी है आजकल, देयर इज जनरली एन इन्फ्लेशन ग्रोथ ट्रेड ऑफ. ईदर आई कैन कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन, बट इफ आई ट्राई टू कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन, आई विल बी रिड्यूसिंग ग्रोथ. If I try to increase growth through aggregate demand, I will have to cause inflation. Now, when growth becomes higher, generally we see that employment also becomes higher. Of course, this logic also we have understood, the employment elasticity of growth, etc., etc. Right? Now, what is stagflation? Stagflation is an exception. This is an exceptional situation. This is an exceptional situation. When does this exceptional situation arise? When does this exceptional situation of stagflation arise? Here, if I see, there is an inverse relationship between inflation and growth, inverse relationship between inflation and employment. So, either inflation will be very high. This relationship also we will understand towards the end of this chapter. This relationship is called the Phillips curve. So if I put inflation high, employment will go down. And if I put employment up, then inflation will also go up, right? So I can't have a situation, I cannot have a situation where there is very low unemployment and low inflation. Because they are opposite to each other, because I already know this, if I draw this graph, I already understand. From this graph, I have already understood that if I will want to move this equilibrium, this is price level and this is real output. If I want to move this equilibrium this way, for example, then I will be able to increase the employment. Employment will go up, but price levels will also go up. So there is an inflation growth trade-off. अरे क्यों लैग हो रहा है यार? Very annoying. मेरे को तो ठीक दिख रहा है. Right. Anyway, so there is a inflation growth trade-off. अगर मुझे ग्रोथ करानी है तो मुझे इन्फ्लेशन टॉलरेट करनी पड़ेगी. If I have to let growth happen in the economy, I will have to tolerate inflation. ठीक है? This is the trade-off we already know about. We have read about this inflation growth trade-off. So in periods of high growth, I will have to tolerate high inflation. High growth will lead to low unemployment. So for low unemployment, I will have to tolerate high inflation. This trade-off exists in the economy. This I know of, right? ये trade-off मेरे को already पता है that for low unemployment, to reduce unemployment, I will have to tolerate some level of inflation. Now, stagflation is a particularly bad situation for any economy. It is an exception. Stagflation is an exceptionally bad situation where there is very high unemployment and high inflation simultaneously. In the economy together, there is high unemployment and high inflation. Generally, when there is high unemployment, inflation is low. When there is high inflation, unemployment is low. Generally, there is a trade-off between the two. But this is a case where unemployment is also high and inflation is also high. This situation is known as stagflation. This is the mixture of two words, stagnation plus inflation. Stagnation means the economy is not growing. Stagnation is the economy is not growing, right? That means the economy's growth rate has come down significantly. This is not that economy is at 2% growth rate. 2% is not stagnation. 0%, -1%. This is sort of stagnation, right? Inflation means obviously there is a rise in price levels. So there is a situation where economy is not growing, there is stagnation and inflation both happening together. Now this is an exceptional situation. This situation does not normally occur, and when it occurs, it is almost impossible to manage this situation. The monetary policy then required, or the monetary and fiscal policy then required to manage this, is a very difficult thing to do. How we manage this, we will see. How we can represent on the graph, first we'll understand, right? This can happen. How can it happen on the graph? पहले हम देखते हैं. How it happens is absolutely not important for us, but just for the sake of explanation and understanding, we will see how it can happen on the graph. So I need now a situation to happen where this price level should also go up price level should also go up and output should also reduce. Let's say there is some supply shock in the economy. Some major supply shock happens in the economy, right? Major supply shock will be something like COVID. Because of major supply shock, the aggregate supply of the economy reduces. So the aggregate supply goes inward. So what will happen now? Price levels have increased, output has reduced. Some major supply shock has happened, right, in the economy. This can lead to stagflation. From this, don't assume now कि COVID was a stagflation situation. इसकी बिल्कुल बात नहीं हो रही है. बात यहां पे ये है कि some type of major supply shock can lead to this sort of situation where price levels are also going up and output is also reduced. So the economy has stagnated and the inflation is still happening. Economy is growing negatively or stagnated, still there is inflation. So both in this case, unemployment is also increasing. High unemployment is there, high inflation is there. This is the case of stagflation. Only the definition of this word is important for us till now. Abhi tak sirf the definition of this word is important, right? Just the definition of this word is important. How this happens and how it is different from cost push inflation is what we will study later. When we go forward, we will study this. When we read monetary policy, we will study this. How this happens, right, is just what we are reading for the moment. Only the meaning of this word is relevant at the moment. How this happens and how we will go counter this, for that we will first read monetary policy, then come back to this. Okay? Now let's come to our chapter of today, which is money. What is the meaning of the word money? Right? It's not cost push inflation. Yeah, how is it possible that I am communicating something and you guys write something absolutely opposite to that in the chat? I just said it is different from cost push inflation, hai na? And we just have to understand the meaning of this word. Cost push inflation can also mean shifting of aggregate supply, right? Cost push inflation, aggregate supply can shift by 1 centimeter. It can shift by 200 centimeters also. Just shifting of aggregate supply is not the only factor, right? There are many other things that matter, right? Ab dekho, please understand, please have this sympathy towards me, if I can say that please keep patience when I am teaching you something like this. These are things that will take time for you to understand, and I cannot teach you everything at once. Now I keep the chat open simply because I don't want to miss out on a comment. A very simple method for me here is to close the chat, right? So please understand that if you keep bombarding me with messages, I have told you this many times, that for the first 2 hours of the class, please don't bombard me with messages. It messes with my head and then it is only ruining your preparation. मेरे को क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है इससे, right? If I am not teaching with my maximum potential, who is getting harmed? You or me? मेरे को नहीं सीखना है ना, सीखना आपको है, right? If I say the word stagflation and the moment I say it, there were 10 messages in the chat saying how. Of course, I'll explain how, right? You can't keep bombarding the chat constantly. मैं यही थोड़ी देखता रहूंगा यार, मुझे पढ़ाना भी है. There are so many things we have to learn. Now, in today's class, there are many difficult concepts for you to understand, which are actually difficult concepts, which you might not understand in the first go. I will explain multiple times. If you understand, it will feel magical. If you don't, you will take time to understand, but this is something that you can use even in your investment decisions. So it is a humble request. Please keep the chat off till I ask you to write something in the chat. The chat till I am teaching, the purpose of this chat is only for you to write yes or no. No other word or the answer to a question. That's it. The purpose of this chat in terms of doubt starts when I have stopped teaching. I hope that is clear. And now let's come to the chapter of money. Now, in this chapter, first we have to understand why does money exist in the economy. Then we have to understand demand of money, then supply of money, then price of money, then decisions regarding changing price of money, then we have to understand banking. This is what we have to understand in this chapter. Now, this we have understood. Money is cheaper, I will spend it easily. Money is expensive, I will hold on to dear money. If there is inflation in the economy, I will make money more expensive. If I will make money more expensive, people will spend less. If people will spend less, aggregate demand will go down. Aggregate demand will go down, price levels will go down. When price levels will go down, inflation in the economy will be controlled. Right? This is what is the outline of this entire chapter. We will understand each of these steps in this chapter now. सबसे पहले let's come to why does money exist? हमें मनी की जरूरत क्यों है इकोनॉमी में? Why do I need money? Money is not something that has existed in human history throughout life. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि जब से humans हैं तब से money है. Something must have happened because of which money was invented. Money is not a natural commodity. Money is something that we have invented. Let's come to why money was invented first. देखो, earlier there was the barter system. Earlier there was the barter system. What is the barter system? Barter system is simply a method to exchange goods among each other. I have a pen, you have a glass of water. I want that glass of water, you want this pen. I say, please take this pen and give me that glass of water. Right? Barter system was merely a method of exchange of items. I could exchange items directly without needing a separate medium of exchange. Right? Now, when I talk of the barter system, there were a few problems in it. I know आप लोगों ने double coincidence of wants रटा हुआ है, चैट में मत लिखो. I know आपको आता है, but there are many others जिसका logic लोग नहीं पढ़ाते, which I'm going to teach you. ठीक है? Barter system was merely a method of exchange. For example, barter system could have said, I will give you 1 cow for 20 kg of wheat. Right? 1 cow for 20 kg of wheat, this is what I will give you. Now, what were the issues in this barter system? क्या issues या क्या problems exist करती थी इस barter system में जिसकी वजह से ये barter system आज नहीं चल रहा? First, the first problem is that there was an issue of double coincidence of wants. What does this mean? Double coincidence of wants means I want a glass of water, you have a glass of water. Now I have this pen. You must also want the pen. You must want the pen at the same time when I want the glass of water. Our wants must coincide. The coincidence must be there of our wants at the same time. Two people's wants must coincide at the same time. Only then this exchange can happen. For example, I want water. You might want apples. I want water, but I have a pen. You want apples. Apples are there with someone else. So you will not give me water for this pen. Now we have to find a third person who has apples and wants a pen. Only then now the transaction will be complete. Let's say we find a third person, but he also does not want a pen. He wants a phone. Now we have to find a fourth person who has a phone but wants this pen. Only then the transaction will be complete. So as the complexity of the economy increased, जब कम लोग थे economy में, when there were not a lot of goods, let's say the only good in the economy was milk and wheat. Let's say there are only 2 goods in the economy. At that time, barter system can work. But as the complexity of the economy increased, double coincidence of wants becomes increasingly rare. And that is why this barter system could not continue. Now, this is the most common explanation. But there are also many other problems. And because of these other problems, once we understand these other problems that I'm assuming you don't know yet, once we read these problems, we will also be able to understand the characteristics of currency. तो देखते हैं बाकी problems क्या थी. ये तो एक problem थी कि wants have to coincide at the same time. The second problem was there was no standard unit of account. I say that one cow is worth 20 kgs of wheat. You say one cow is worth 50 kgs of wheat. Somebody says one cow is worth 2 horses. Somebody says one cow is worth 20 kg of wheat. Somebody says 20 kg of wheat is worth 50 kg of apples. If these are the sort of exchanges that are happening in the barter system, from here could I naturally conclude that 2 horses are equal to 50 kg of apples? Ideally, if it was a proper exchange system, if I'm able to exchange one cow for 2 horses and one cow for 20 kg of wheat, if I'm able to exchange 20 kg of wheat for 50 kg of apples, then 50 kg of apples should also get me 2 horses. But this was not happening because there was no standard unit of accounting. Horses and cows are not units of accounting of items. So there were no standard units of accounting here. This was the second problem. Third, I say that one cow is worth 20 kg of wheat. Let's say this is accepted also. But at this time, I only want 5 kg of wheat. If I only want 5 kg of wheat, should I give you 1/4 cow? Should I cut my cow into now 4 pieces and give it to you? Of course, that's not possible, right? The cow will lose all its value. The cow will be dead. That I can't do. So there was a problem of subdivision, also known as the fungibility problem, which we will see. So there was a fungibility problem. You could not divide things, right? Then there was lack of information. Here there is, let's say, this huge country. Let's say there is this country. In this country, there are few people living in this city, few people living in this city. In this city, transactions that are happening are one cow worth 10 kg of wheat. In this city, the transactions that are happening are one cow of 15 kg of wheat. Now, since there is no standard unit of accounting, there is no standard unit, someone might say that this cow was a better cow. That is why I have given 15 kg. This cow is a worse cow. This cow does not give that much milk, right? So even information could not be transmitted properly. I will not be able to find out what is the true value of my cow because there are various systems of exchange happening at the same time. There is no standard unit of accounting, and somewhere cow is being exchanged for 15 kg of wheat, somewhere cow is being exchanged for 10 kg of apples. Now there is no way to understand the true value of this cow. I cannot say the cow is worth 15 kg of wheat or 10 kg of apples. Now what sort of apples? Rotten apples, good apples, big apples, red apples, etc. Similarly for wheat. So this was another problem. There was a standardization problem, there was a division problem, there was an information problem. Now, the other problem that was also there in the barter system was nobody would produce very large and costly goods. Why? Let's say in this economy, in this barter economy, I want to produce a car. Now, if I am spending all my time and energy in producing a car, right? If I am spending all my time and energy in producing a car, I will now require a lot of items for it, not merely just one cow or something. I will want that I should get food and clothing for one complete year, transport I should get. There are so many things that I should get. Now, it is very difficult to find someone who owns all of these goods and services that I need. I am spending my one complete year building a car. So everything that I would need for that one complete year, I should be given in advance. Only then I can spend that time making a car. Otherwise, I have to spend the time looking for food, looking for transport, looking for shelter, looking for clothing. Now, if I am willing to sell this car, I can only sell it to people who can give me all these sets of goods and services that I need. सारी goods and services अगर वो मुझे दे देंगे एक बारी में, only then I can make this car. But ऐसे लोग होंगे ही नहीं जिनके पास सारी goods और services साथ में होंगी. Person who owns transport services also, shelter services also, food services also, clothing services also. So the production of very large and costly goods is very, very unlikely to happen. Lastly, let's say I had a cow and I decided that I'm getting a very good deal. I will exchange 2 cows that I have for 100 kg of wheat. I got a very good deal and I had 2 cows and I exchanged them for 100 kg of wheat. How do I store my wealth now? अब मैं इस 100 kg wheat को store कर सकता हूं क्या? नहीं. After some time it will go bad. ये एक perishable item है, थोड़े टाइम बाद खराब हो जाएगा wheat. So the storage of wealth was also a problem. How do I store wealth? Most items here are perishable, that will get destroyed, deteriorated in some time. So the barter system had various problems. Problems of double coincidence of wants, no standard unit of accounting, no subdivision or also what is known as the fungibility problem, a lack of information problem, no production of very large and costly goods, and the problem of storage of wealth. These are the issues that existed with the barter system. Now, the barter system needed a new medium of exchange. The barter system now needed a new medium of exchange when the economy had to stabilize. If we did not get a medium of exchange, the complexity of the economy would not become more and more complex. More and more goods will not be produced because there is no proper way of exchanging them. So as humankind evolved and we needed more complex goods, then we needed a medium of exchange to account for all of these issues of the barter system. Is this now clear and understood? अब double coincidence of wants रटने की जरूरत नहीं है ना? अब actually समझ आ रहा होगा क्या हो रहा है. From this we will understand the characteristics of currency. From there we will go to different types of currency and from there we will go to demand of money. समझ आया? Now, right. अब सोचो, अब अगेन थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगा के सोचते हैं. मैंने बार्टर सिस्टम की प्रॉब्लम्स देखी. To solve problems of barter, I need something which acts as a medium of exchange. Now, what are the characteristics of this medium of exchange? इस मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज को कैसा होना चाहिए तब वो मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज अच्छा मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज माना जाएगा, राइट? सबसे पहले ये मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज मतलब ये कोई ऐसी चीज जो मेरे और आपके बीच में एक्सचेंज करा सके, राइट? बार्टर सिस्टम में मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या थी? डबल कोइंसिडेंस ऑफ वांट्स. दिस वाज द फर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम कि दोनों चीजें हैव both wants, my want and your want had to coincide. Only then there was an exchange possible. So pehla characteristic of this medium of exchange is that everyone should be willing to exchange their goods for it. Therefore, there is a permanent and perpetual want of this item by all of us. Everyone wants it, constantly wants it, and permanently wants it. This medium of exchange must be something जो सबको चाहिए, constantly चाहिए. Only then they will exchange their goods for it. Let's say this remote is medium of exchange. You must want this remote at all times. Only then I can use this as a medium of exchange. So the first common entity, we are trying to find a common entity that can facilitate exchange, that can act as a medium of exchange. The first characteristic of this will be permanent and perpetual want. So permanent and perpetual want that should be there for all. Now, there is something like water. Water has a permanent and perpetual want. You want it permanently and perpetually. I also want it. It's necessary for life. Why can't water act as a medium of exchange? Because I can obtain water even without goods and services. मेरे पास goods and services नहीं है, even then I can obtain water, right? I should just go and go to a well or go to a river, I can find water. स्टोरेज की प्रॉब्लम तो बाद में आएगी ना, अभी तो कोई मेरे को जरूरत ही नहीं है गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज अभी. इफ आई वांट लेट्स से दैट मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज, वी आर ट्राइंग टू फाइंड मनी. इफ आई वांट मनी टुडे, आई हैव टू प्रोड्यूस सम गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज. If I want water today, I don't have to produce goods and services, because water effectively, or at least let's say 500 years ago, water did not face the problem of scarcity. Today there might be a problem of scarcity of water. At least 500 years ago there was no scarcity of water. So for this entity to work as a medium of exchange, firstly there must be a permanent and perpetual want of it, and there must be some level of scarcity also. Only when there is scarcity will people work hard or produce something to get it. If there is no scarcity, why will I get it or why will I accept it? मैं कहूंगा आप क्या water दे रहे हो, मैं खुद ले आता हूं जाके, right? So there must be a scarcity also. Now, a very good example was found of this sort of medium of exchange, and that was gold. Gold is something that people perpetually and permanently want. I say I'm going to give you gold, you will want more and more of it. There is scarcity of gold, it is not unlimited in the world, right? So gold was a good medium of exchange in this case because everyone wanted it. It had its own value also. We will see if this value is important or not. Gold itself is also valuable. Gold has its own value. खुद से उसकी एक value है. It has an intrinsic value. Saying that something has its own value means the word we use here is intrinsic value. That by itself it has a value. Gold by itself has a value, right? Gold is something that everyone wants. There is a demand also, and gold is something that is scarce, right? Now, let's compare gold with wheat. Let's say I was trying to use wheat as a medium of exchange. Now, wheat is also something that people want, assuming that it is the only thing you can eat. Let's say कि wheat इकलौती चीज है जो humans खा सकते हैं. Let us assume that wheat is the only thing that humans can eat. Then everyone has a perpetual demand for wheat, permanent demand for wheat, and wheat is not unlimited. There is scarcity of wheat also. We don't have unlimited wheat. So are gold and wheat equal as far as demands are concerned? And wheat by itself has some value. कम ज्यादा की बात अलग है, right? कम ज्यादा की बात अलग है, but wheat की value भी है, wheat की perpetual demand भी है, और wheat की scarcity भी है. So can I make wheat now my currency? No. Why can't I make wheat my currency? Because there is a storability problem. I cannot store wheat, right? The medium of exchange, whatever I finalize as a medium of exchange, must not deteriorate on storing. Storability was also a problem in the barter system. I have to solve the storability problem also, right? Wheat must, एक तो wheat cannot be standardized. There is a standardization problem. You can say this wheat is better quality versus this wheat. Gold can be standardized, 24 karat gold, 22 karat gold. There is a standard that can be applied to gold. There can be no standard that can be applied to wheat. Second, storing wheat is almost impossible without letting it deteriorate. If you store wheat, it will deteriorate over time. Let's say my wealth today is 10,000 kgs of wheat. In 2 years, it will be 0 kgs of wheat because that wheat will be useless. Now, तो therefore wheat was out. Gold अभी तक ठीक लग रहा है. जितने characteristics हमने अभी तक देखे, gold looks good. Everyone demands it perpetually. There is a scarcity. It has an intrinsic value. Whether that intrinsic value is important or not, value होना जरूरी है या नहीं वो हम देखते हैं. ठीक है. Gold can be stored. तो ये storability की problem भी solve कर रहा है. Gold can be standardized. तो ये standardized problem भी solve कर रहा है. आगे देखते हैं. Next problem is of fungibility. Fungibility simply means to divide into equal smaller units. Divide into equal smaller units. For example, I say rupees 100 is the same as rupees 10 into 10. 10 rupee notes, 10 rupee notes, 10 rupee notes, and 100 rupee notes are the same. This is fungibility. Even if I am dividing rupees 100 into various other divisions, it is not leading to any loss of value. Whether I give you two 50 rupee notes, 5 20 rupee notes, or 100 rupee note, it is the same for you. आप तो उसको same ही consider करोगे. So I have divided into equal smaller units without losing any value. This is the property of fungibility. Now, you tell me, is diamond, is this a fungible item? Is diamond a fungible item? Yes or no? Diamond is not a fungible item. Diamond is not a fungible item because diamond, if there is a huge diamond like this, if I divide it into, let's say, 3 parts and I get something like this, the value of these 3 parts will be much lesser than the combined value of this, right? This is, the bigger the diamond, this will in itself have a much higher value relative to this. These 3 small diamonds will have a very smaller value. The value should not change on division in case of fungibility. So diamond is not a fungible item. But in the case of gold, it is not a problem. The value of 10 grams of gold is the same as value of 10 1 gram coins of gold. I have one 10 gram biscuit. I have one 10 gram biscuit. उसको अगर मैं मार्केट में बेचने जाऊं या फिर मैं 10 1 ग्राम के बिस्किट 1 ग्राम के कॉइन्स बेचने जाऊं, I will get the same amount of money, right? So if let's say prevailing rate of gold right now is 10 gram for 80,000, if I sell 10 1 gram coins of gold, I will get 80,000. If I sell one 10 gram biscuit of gold, I will get 80,000, right? No, value of whole is not greater for gold, यार. It is actually not greater. आप डिजाइनर ज्वेलरी की बात मत करो. Think of gold without being molded into jewelry, simply as gold, biscuits of gold, coins of gold. Gold is standardized. If I say that 24 karat gold for 1 gram costs rupees 20,000, let's say I'm giving you this example. If you have 5 grams of gold, you will get 1 lakh rupees for it. If you have 10 grams of gold, you'll get 2 lakh rupees for it. This standard has to be maintained. Now, however many grams you have, you can divide. Divide मतलब ये नहीं आपको physically divide करना है. The value on division should be same. If someone has 10 grams of gold, 24 karat gold, versus someone has 2 coins of 5 gram of 24 karat gold, they have the same money. That is the property here. Subdivision is possible here. Gold का piece बड़ा होने या छोटे होने से फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Diamond is very rare to find, and diamond का chemical structure makes it hard to cut. Gold is a soft metal. Gold is easy to cut. So gold does not have this problem. आप 0.01 ग्राम गोल्ड लेके जाओ सोनार की शॉप पे, वो आपको उसकी वैल्यू दे देंगे. They will not say कि ये छोटा है इसलिए इसकी वैल्यू कम है. If it is pure gold. Jewelry is different. Jewelry में there is making charges. Jewelry को मोल्ड किया जाता है, डिजाइन किया जाता है, बहुत सारे और चार्जेस हैं. अगर आप प्योर गोल्ड की बात करो, सिंपल गोल्ड, नॉट ज्वेलरी बट सिंपली गोल्ड, देन it is divided, it can be divided into equal value, right? Now, Fungibility means you are able to divide into smaller equal values without a loss of value. मतलब मेरे पास 10 ग्राम का गोल्ड का बिस्किट है, मैंने उसे डिवाइड कर दिया into 10 coins of 1 gram each. I will not lose any value. I will not lose any value. Therefore, 1 kg gold can be said to be same as 1000 grams of gold or 1000 units of 1 gram of gold. Right? So gold also solves this problem. Gold also solves this problem. यार देखो तुम्हें, I don't know how to communicate this to you. If you write right now in the chat, why is it called non-fungible token? ये साइंस एंड टेक की क्लास नहीं है. I can't answer questions at the same time and teach at the same time also. I mean, I don't know how to communicate this. Someone asking what is the cost of 1 gold biscuit. Is it relevant? What the cost of 1 gold biscuit is? यार टफ चैप्टर है. Let us please understand. आपके क्वेश्चंस में आंसर कर दूंगा. It is almost impossible for me to ignore this and I can't even close it because अगर कभी लैग होता है तो मुझे आपकी बात सुननी पड़ेगी, है ना? Anyway, now fungibility means division into equal values or division into smaller values without losing any value. वैल्यू का लॉस नहीं होना चाहिए when I am dividing it. अगर मैं बोलूं 10 grams of gold, या मैं बोलूं 2 into 5 grams of gold, या मैं बोलूं 10 into 1 grams of gold, the value should not change. यहां पर क्या हो रहा है? Value is changing. In case of diamond, if I have a huge diamond like this and then I divide it and I make 4 smaller diamonds, इस टाइप के 4 smaller diamonds में बना दूं तो value is changing. If I have a huge 100-gram gold biscuit and I make it into, let's say, 5 20-gram gold biscuits, in this case value does not change. Fungibility simply means on division the value should not change. On division value should not change. अगर मैं डिवाइड कर दूं तो वैल्यू कम नहीं होनी चाहिए. In gold this characteristic is true. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं. Another thing that I would require, अब अगर मैं सिर्फ मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज के बारे में सोचूं, another thing that I would require from my medium of exchange is that it should be non-counterfeitable. अगर मैंने उसे सरकार बनके मैंने उसे कहा है कि ये मेरा मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज है, इंडिया में ये मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज चलेगा, देन उसे कोई काउंटरफीट नहीं कर पाना चाहिए. Somebody should not be able to make that same thing by themselves. Only then that medium of exchange will carry the property of scarcity. Gold itself is scarce. Gold itself is scarce, but if somebody else has gold, they can technically make my medium of exchange. किसी और के पास गोल्ड है तो वो मेरा मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज बना सकते हैं. नाउ आप में से जितने लोगों ने एंशिएंट मेडिवल आर्ट एंड कल्चर पढ़ रखा है उन्हें एक बहुत मेजर चीज समझ आएगी. Gold was not used as medium of exchange in ancient times. What was used as medium of exchange? Gold coins were used as medium of exchange. And आपने ये टर्म कहीं ना कहीं जरूर सुनी होगी, punch marked coins. Punch marked coins. Punch marked coins meant that ये कॉइन है, this is a gold coin, इसके ऊपर हम पंच लगाते हैं अपने राजा की फोटो, something like this. Now somebody else who has gold cannot replicate this. अब किसी और के पास गोल्ड है तो वो इसको रेप्लिकेट नहीं कर पाएगा, क्योंकि ये पंच लगाने की एबिलिटी सिर्फ मेरे पास ही है. Throughout human history, gold coins have been punch marked when kingdoms have been recognized. जब किंगडम स्टेज पे हम पहुंच गए और किंगडम रिकॉग्नाइज हो गए, they have all made punch marked coins so that their currency, just because someone has gold, should not become counterfeitable. Just because किसी और के पास गोल्ड है वो मेरी जैसी करेंसी ना बना ले. करेंसी एक ही जगह से बनेगी. That is why there was the concept of punch marked coins. Right? Now, इसका नाम सुना है? Sorry. इसका नाम सुना है? You've heard of this? Tanishq. Why are they famous? Why is Tanishq famous? Tanishq is a gold company. They claim to be one of the purest gold companies. ठीक है, सुना होगा लेकिन लॉजिक नहीं लगाया होगा. ठीक है, क्यों होगा इनमें यार? This is actually Kanishk was a ruler of ancient India who had one of the most purest gold coins. One of the purest gold coins were coming from Kanishk. Tanishq is Tata's brand. Tata plus Kanishk becomes Tanishq. Kanishk is an example of one of the rulers of ancient India who had the purest gold. Now, his gold coin was better than other people's gold coin. Therefore, to avoid non-counterfeiting, punch-marked coins were important. Right? Therefore, punch-marked coins were important. So, gold, even though gold is being used, it has its own scarcity. There is also a characteristic required in a currency of being non-counterfeitable. Right? Now, lastly, there should be availability of medium of exchange. This characteristic is also important. What is availability meaning? Availability means gold इतना scarce नहीं होना चाहिए कि किसी के पास है ही नहीं. अगर किसी के पास है ही नहीं, let's say there is nobody has gold, लोगों के पास एक आधा ग्राम है, तो क्या वो एक्चुअली उसको यूज कर पाएंगे मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज में? नहीं. So availability is also important. Now there is a problem. There is scarcity also and availability also. होना भी चाहिए available, so there needs to be a fine balance. It cannot be something that there is only 1 gram of gold in the world, और ऐसा भी नहीं होना चाहिए that there is 10 crore grams of gold in the world, right? So it has to be a fine balance. मेरे पास एक limited amount होना चाहिए जिससे मैं exchanges कर पाऊं, बहुत ज्यादा भी नहीं, बहुत कम भी नहीं. That is what an ideal currency would look like. An ideal medium of exchange, an ideal form of money will have these characteristics. Now, let us see how money has evolved. Money evolve कैसे हुआ, इसको देखते हैं. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है इसकी. आई नो ये भी नाम कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा मैं, बट आई नो ये भी पार्ट ऐसा है जो आप लोगों ने रट रखा होगा विदाउट एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस, बट दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. सबसे पहले देयर वाज कमोडिटी मनी. Commodity money was things like sheep, things like stones, things like almonds, cashews, this being used for money. इसकी तो प्रॉब्लम हम देख ही चुके हैं. स्टैंडर्डाइज नहीं कर सकते, स्टोर नहीं कर सकते. देयर आर वेरियस इश्यूज इन कमोडिटी मनी. दिस वाज नॉट वर्किंग. वी वेंट ऑन टू मेटालिक मनी. नाउ मेटालिक मनी में द फर्स्ट एग्जांपल दैट वाज टेकन वाज गोल्ड. Obviously silver has also been used, copper has also been used. When copper was used, people were able to replicate, its value dropped. Gold was the best. Gold was the best possible system here because most scarce, most difficult to replicate. Punch mark कर दोगे तो सही हो जाएगा. Has its own value also, right? Mostly gold mines in any kingdom were controlled by the state. Copper mines were not controlled by the state. Copper mines normal लोगों के पास भी थी तो वो produce कर लेते थे अपने coins. Gold was generally only controlled by the king of that particular kingdom. Therefore, we came to gold coins as medium of exchange. Now, let us understand what was the problem of gold coins. अगर देखो, अगर gold coins में कोई problem नहीं होती, let's say gold coins were perfect. अभी तक we think gold coins have no problem. अभी तक तो हमें कोई problem दिखी नहीं gold coins में. अगर gold coins में कोई problem नहीं होती, तो आज भी gold ही use हो रहा होता as medium of exchange. Right? Invention does not happen without necessity. There must have been something or the other that was a problem with gold that has now led to us using currency notes. Otherwise, even today, gold would have been used as a medium of exchange. तो देखते हैं gold की problem क्या है. When trade increased, पहले let's say कि एक कंट्री में कुछ लोग हैं एंड दे आर नाउ एक्सचेंजिंग देयर आइटम्स. दिस कंट्री इज एक्सचेंजिंग देयर आइटम्स एंड गोल्ड इज बीइंग यूज्ड. देयर आर पंच मार्क्ड कॉइन्स. There is scarcity also, limited supply also, and some people have some level of gold also. गोल्ड से बढ़िया ट्रांजैक्शन हो रही है. अब गोल्ड की प्रॉब्लम देखते हैं. हमने दो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स देखे थे, हमने 6 देखे हैं वैसे, 2 मैं आपको याद करा रहा हूं दोबारा. एक तो कि अवेलेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए और एक फंजिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए. फंजिबिलिटी मींस ability to divide without losing value. Ability to divide should be there without losing value and availability होनी चाहिए. पहले इस प्रॉब्लम को देखते हैं. गोल्ड इज फंजिबल. गोल्ड में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है फंजिबिलिटी की अप टू अ पॉइंट. लेट्स से आई हैव 1 kg ऑफ गोल्ड. आई कैन डिवाइड दिस इनटू 1000 of 1 gram. This 1 gram I can further divide into 100 of 0.01 gram. But can I further divide 0.01 gram into smaller quantities of gold? No, because it will become gold dust. वो कैरी करना ले जाना पॉसिबल नहीं है. Right? So I have 1 kg of gold. I can make 1000 of 1 gram coins. I can probably make 100 of 0.01 gram coins from each 1 gram. Right? But beyond this, it is not possible to divide gold. 0.01 से कम simply because of its physical characteristics of it being a metal. I can't have gold in my hand of 0.001 gram. मैं कैरी नहीं कर, कैसे कैरी करूंगा मैं उसको? Right? How will I store it? How will I carry it? So gold has fungibility, but simply because of its characteristics, beyond a point I can't derive it. और अब इतनी डिवीजन करने की जरूरत क्या है? इतनी डिवीजन करने की जरूरत यह है कि इसकी वैल्यू बहुत ज्यादा है. It has its huge value. This huge value is there because of huge scarcity of gold. तो अब अगर मुझे लेट से एक ट्रांजैक्शन करनी है ऑफ दिस 1 पेन, ये पेन मान लो 20 रुपीज का है, मुझे इसकी ट्रांजैक्शन करनी है इन गोल्ड. 10 grams of gold is 80,000. 1 gram of gold is 8,000. 0.1 gram of gold is 800. 0.01 gram of gold is 80. Even with 0.01 gram of gold, I cannot buy this pen because 0.01 gram की वैल्यू ज्यादा है. मुझे 0.01 से भी नीचे जाना पड़ेगा. I will have to go below 0.01 gram to buy this pen from gold. And gold cannot be divided beyond 0.01 grams. इससे छोटा तो और क्या ही करोगे? 0.01 ग्राम तो बिल्कुल भी कुछ नहीं होता. इससे छोटा तो कर नहीं सकता मैं गोल्ड को. एंड इट हैज अ ह्यूज अवेलेबिलिटी प्रॉब्लम. अल्टीमेटली तो गोल्ड लिमिटेड है, राइट? ठीक है, इट इज स्केर्स, बट अल्टीमेटली इट इज कंप्लीटली लिमिटेड, राइट? लेट्स से देयर इज 1000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड इन इंडिया. वो 1000 kg तो 1000 kg ही रहेगा. बिकॉज ऑफ दीज प्रॉब्लम्स, लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंड. जब तक ये कंट्री आपस में ट्रांजैक्शंस कर रही थी कोई इशू नहीं था. नाउ द वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी स्टार्टेड एंड trade between countries started. Now there is a country here, there is a country here, there is a country here. These countries are trading with each other also. अब आपस में भी ट्रेड हो रहा है. The number of items are becoming more complex. More and more items are entering the economy. There are items in the economy whose value is less than or much less than 0.01 gram of gold. So now if I, let's say 0.01 gram of gold costs 80 rupees and I have to buy this pen, it is compulsory for me to buy 4 pens at a time. मैं एक पेन नहीं खरीद सकता एक बार, मुझे 4 खरीदने ही पड़ेंगे. This is the first problem. And availability also is a problem. एक लेवल से तो गोल्ड है नहीं, 1000 kg ही है. If economy is growing, let's say there is 1000 kg of gold. 1000 kg of gold means there is 1000 into 100, 1 lakh gram of gold. 1 lakh gram of gold, I said 1 gram of gold can make 100 coins. So from 1 lakh gram of gold, I can make 1 crore gold coins. Right? Now, अब 1 crore gold coins के beyond 1 crore gold coins, I cannot go. मेरे पास 1 crore gold coins की लिमिट है. If my economy needs more money than 1 crore gold coins, there are too many transactions happening. इकोनॉमी की जीडीपी बढ़ती जा रही है, गुड्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, तब भी यहां पर 1 करोड़ गोल्ड कॉइन्स की लिमिट है। अब मुझे और गोल्ड लाना पड़ेगा, एंड गोल्ड इज नॉट इजी टू फाइंड। आई कैन नॉट से कि मैं कल गोल्ड ले आऊंगा, मुझे मिल ही नहीं रहा, आई हैव टू माइन इट, फाइंड इट। बहुत मुश्किल है अब इस फिगर को इंक्रीज करना। तो टिल द इकोनॉमी कैन फंक्शन विद 1 करोड़ कॉइन्स, तब तक तो काम ठीक है। The moment now the economy needs 2 crore coins, it becomes almost impossible for me in this system to solve this problem. Right? ये समझ आ रही है? Are you able to understand and visualize the problem of gold now? The other problem is, what about something that costs less than 1 coin of gold? उसका मैं क्या करूं? मैं 0.01 ग्राम से छोटा तो नहीं कर सकता गोल्ड को। So are you able to understand the problems that gold is posing to us? समझ आ गई बात? Now, what can I do? How can I solve this problem? I am a government. As a government, I have 1 crore gold coins circulating in my economy. These 1 crore gold coins have value of 0.01 gram of gold. Each gold coin has 0.01 gram of gold. अब प्रॉब्लम इस टाइम पे है क्या कि एक तो मुझे इस नंबर को, माय इकोनॉमी नीड्स मोर देन 1 करोड़। वर्स्ट प्रॉब्लम इज मुझे 1 करोड़ से बढ़ाना है ये नंबर। दूसरा है मुझे इसको 0.01 से स्मॉलर करना है, because there are things that cost less than 0.01 gram of gold. I now need a system where this can be divided further. So one problem is I need to divide this further. Let's call this problem number 2. And problem 1 is I need to increase this number of 1 crore. देखते हैं अब क्या करते हैं। Government says that I will take back all of this. Government takes back all of this in the treasury. गवर्नमेंट कहती है जितने भी गोल्ड कॉइन्स हैं लाके मुझे दे दो, गिव देम बैक टू मी। आई हैव नाउ ऑल ऑफ दीज गोल्ड कॉइन्स इन माय ट्रेजरी। नाउ दीज गोल्ड कॉइन्स वर टोटल इक्वल टू 1000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड। गवर्नमेंट कहती है हमारे जितना भी 1000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड है मैं सारा अपने पास वापस लेती हूं, एंड इन ल्यू ऑफ दिस आई विल इशू टू यू पेपर नोट्स। एक पीस ऑफ पेपर मैं आपको दूंगा, उस पीस ऑफ पेपर पे क्या लिखा होगा? दिस पीस ऑफ पेपर विल से दैट 100 ऑफ दीज पेपर्स कैन बी एक्सचेंज्ड। ध्यान से सुनना है, कंसेप्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है। फॉर 0.01 ग्राम ऑफ गोल्ड। सो लेट्स से there is a hypothetical kingdom called Shivin's kingdom. Shivin is writing on the currency, on every paper note that Shivin is giving you. Shivin is writing, I promise, I am writing here, I promise that 100 of these such notes can be exchanged for 0.01 gram of gold. 100 of these notes can be exchanged for 0.01 gram of gold. ठीक है? अब क्या हुआ? This problem gets solved. One note is how much? 0.01 divided by 100. So the value of one note is 0.0001 gram of gold. मैंने डिवाइड कर दिया, करा आर्टिफिशियली। गोल्ड को डिवाइड नहीं कर सकते थे, बट ये काम तो कर सकते थे। दूसरा प्रॉब्लम मैंने क्या था, यहां पर 1 करोड़ था, यू नाउ हैव 100 करोड़ नोट्स। नाउ यू हैव 100 करोड़ नोट्स एंड द वैल्यू ऑफ ईच नोट हैज बिकम 0.0001 ग्राम ऑफ गोल्ड। मैंने इस वैल्यू को कम करना था, कम कर दिया, इस वैल्यू को बढ़ाना था, बढ़ा दिया। नाउ एज अ सिटीजन इन माई किंगडम, आप मेरे किंगडम में एक सिटीजन हो, विल यू एक्सेप्ट दिस? विल यू एक्सेप्ट दिस इन माई किंगडम? यस और नो बताना और सोच के बोलना. विल यू एक्सेप्ट दिस? यस और नो. आप ये एक्सेप्ट करोगे या नहीं करोगे? यू विल एक्सेप्ट दिस. You will accept this only if you feel that I will honor my promise. आप ये सिर्फ तभी एक्सेप्ट करोगे जब आपको लगेगा कि ये प्रॉमिस इज सेट इन गोल्ड, राइट? अगर आपको लगेगा कि ये प्रॉमिस बिल्कुल ही ट्रू प्रॉमिस है, मैं जब भी जाऊं, मैं जब भी चाहूं, मैं ट्रेजरी में जाके 100 नोट दूंगा और मुझे 0.01 ग्राम मिल जाएगा. अगर ये प्रॉमिस आपको ऐसा लगता है कि ये प्रॉमिस में आप बिलीव करते हो, ट्रूली बिलीव करते हो, तो आपको ये एक्सेप्ट करने में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. इवन दो इट्स पेपर, यू विल फील दिस पेपर हैज वैल्यू, है ना? आपको लगेगा पेपर के पास वैल्यू है, मेरे को जब भी जाना होगा मैं जाके एक्सचेंज करा लूंगा, राइट? एंड फ्री में एक्सचेंज होते हैं, कभी कोई रुकना नहीं होता, कोई लाइन नहीं होती. द मोमेंट आई गो आई गेट दिस एक्सचेंज डन. कोई कॉस्ट नहीं है एक्सचेंज की, राइट? सो इन दिस केस you will accept this promise only if you feel that I have the ability to honor this promise. मैंने आपको एक प्रॉमिस किया कि आप मेरे से ये 100 नोट्स ले जाओ और मुझे अपना 0.01 ग्राम ऑफ गोल्ड दे दो. एनी टाइम यू वांट यू कैन गिव मी दीज नोट्स बैक एंड टेक 0.01 ग्राम बैक फ्रॉम मी. इफ आई एम एबल टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट दिस एबिलिटी, कि आप देखते हो कि आपके आसपास बहुत लोग हैं, वो रोज जाते हैं, जब उन्हें गोल्ड चाहिए होता है वो मेरी ट्रेजरी में जाते हैं, अपने नोट्स एक्सचेंज करते हैं, उन्हें गोल्ड मिल जाता है, तो आप कहोगे हाँ ठीक है यार, ठीक ही है, सबको मिल रहा है तो ठीक ही है, राइट? यू विल एक्सेप्ट दिस प्रॉमिस ओनली इफ यू आर हैविंग इनफ ट्रस्ट that I will honor this promise when the time comes. When you actually need it, I will honor this promise. ये बात समझ आई? If you don't have faith in my ability, you will not accept this promise. You will accept this promise only if you have faith in my ability. और ये तो promises का nature है. Let's go little bit थोड़ा side में जाके देखते हैं. I have told you that I will teach you current affairs after economic survey and budget is released. You have accepted this statement only because you know that I am not lying, or you think that I am not lying. You have trust in my ability, faith in my ability, कि जब करंट अफेयर्स आ जाएगा तो मैं आपको पढ़ा दूंगा. Only because you have accepted this promise. Why have you accepted it? Because you have trust on me, because you have faith in my ability. अगर मान लो मैं हर बार ऐसे झूठ बोलता कि मैं पढ़ा दूंगा और मैं कभी भी नहीं पढ़ाता, right? Then you will stop having faith in my ability, right? But because I have delivered on my promises in the past, you are inclined to believe कि because I have delivered on what I have said before, जो मैंने पहले कहा है वो मैंने किया है, then you are inclined to believe कि हाँ ये आगे भी करेगा. Then you will honor this promise, right? अब मैंने आपको कह दिया I guarantee that 100 paper notes are worth 0.01 gram of gold. ये मैंने नोट पे ही लिख दिया. On every paper I write this message that one paper note is worth 0.01 divided by 100, 0.0001 gram of gold. Does this paper have any intrinsic value? Does this paper have any intrinsic value? इस पेपर की कोई intrinsic value है? No. The intrinsic value is only of the promise. Only the promise has value. Right? मेरे प्रॉमिस की वैल्यू है, पेपर की अपने आप में तो कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. By itself gold had intrinsic value, but paper by itself has no value. पेपर तो शायद 10 पैसे का भी नहीं है, बट इसकी वैल्यू 0.0001 ग्राम गोल्ड की है, राइट? नाउ in this economy now, this paper will now started to be used. It will be used now as a medium of exchange. this paper note now will now be used as a medium of exchange, even though the paper note has no intrinsic value of its own. Simply because of the value of this promise, the trust that citizens have on this promise, they will use this paper note as a medium of exchange. And because they are using this paper note as a medium of exchange, we can now say that intrinsic value is not an important characteristic of a medium of exchange. Merely the important characteristic is scarcity. It is only scarcity that is important. Scarcity is still there. There are a sum total of 100 crore paper notes. Not even one more than that. Scarcity is still there, but intrinsic value was not important for these paper notes to become a medium of exchange. Now, for this promise to have value, for this promise to be something that you trust, I need to have ability to fulfill my promise. You must think that I am capable. अब समझना इस बात को. You need to understand this distinction carefully. For you to believe this promise, you need to think that I am capable of fulfilling this promise. I don't actually need to demonstrate. मुझे एक्चुअली डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि मैं लोगों को पकड़ पकड़ के उनसे गोल्ड कॉइन्स लूं, उनको गोल्ड कॉइन्स दूं, पेपर नोट्स वापस लूं. बस इन योर माइंड देयर नीड्स टू बी अ बायस एंड assumption that I am capable of fulfilling this promise, even though you have not seen it happening in front of you. आपके सामने नहीं हो रहा है, right? Still you think that I am capable of fulfilling this promise. That is why you accept this paper note. If somebody gives you 20 paper notes, you accept them because you think that anytime I want, I can go and get them changed. Even though आपने अपने सामने कभी चेंज होते हुए नहीं देखा है, आपने खुद चेंज नहीं कराया है. You just think that this promise will be honored. For a long time in human history, paper currency was of this format, right? For any currency that I issued, there was some gold in the bank. This is called full reserve system. For the entire paper currency that I issue, I have reserves of gold. If I issue 100 crore paper notes, I have equivalent reserves. And anytime you want, you can come and exchange. This was known as the full reserve system or the gold standard. आपने ये term बहुत common सुनी होगी. This course is the gold standard for economy, right? This, you would say, gold standard is said when something is the best standard. This word gold standard comes from this full reserve system. When every paper of currency that was issued, it had a reserve of gold backing it. Gold was backing. As a standard process, gold was backing any currency that was issued. Right? What is the problem that we have not solved yet? We have solved one problem, that 0.01. We solved one problem that 0.01 of gold was still too big, and this needs to be split. This we have done because now I have notes that are worth 0.0001. The problem has not been solved, that earlier there were 1 crore gold coins. Now there are 100 crore paper notes, but the value has not increased. अभी भी 1 करोड़ गोल्ड कॉइन्स की ही वैल्यू है. This is not equivalent to 2 crore gold coins. मैंने 2 करोड़ गोल्ड कॉइन तो क्रिएट नहीं कर दिया ना. I wanted, my economy needed 2 crore gold coins, but gold is still limited. Gold is still the limiting factor in the growth of my economy. अगर मैं अब सर्कुलर फ्लो ऑफ इनकम पे आपको वापस लेके जाऊं एक बार, if you remember this circular flow of income model, this is what was happening in the circular flow of income. In this economy, the maximum money that can be circulating is 1 crore gold coins, simply because इससे ज्यादा पैसा तो है ही नहीं. So the maximum GDP can be 1 crore gold coins, क्योंकि इससे तो है ही नहीं हमारे पास. Even if I start calling these 1 crore gold coins 100 crore paper notes, the circulating money has not changed. मैं इसको चाहे मैं इसे कुछ भी कह दूं, 100 crore पेपर नोट कह दूं, 10 लाख करोड़ पेन्स कह दूं, the value is the same. For this circular flow to increase from 1 crore gold coins, I have to go to 2 crore gold coins. I need more currency. I simply need more currency for growth to happen. I don't have that yet. मैंने डिविजन प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर दी कि 0.01 वाज द लोएस्ट डिनोमिनेशन, चीजें 0.001 की भी अब आप खरीद सकते हो बिकॉज आई गिव यू पेपर नोट्स, बट आई हैव नॉट सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम येट. नाउ लेट मी सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, नाउ आई विल सॉल्व द सेकंड प्रॉब्लम दैट ग्रोथ इज नॉट हैपनिंग. Very right, growth is currently, gold is a limiting factor to growth. The availability of gold is limiting my economy's growth. This much is clear. Because there is not enough gold, my economy's growth is limited. ये बात क्लियर है, ये समझ आ रहा है. ये था फुल रिजर्व सिस्टम. अब हम नेक्स्ट रिजर्व सिस्टम पे आएंगे विच विल सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, लेट्स टेक अ 2 मिनट ब्रेक. अब एक चीज सोचना जो आपने आज तक नहीं सोची होगी, आपने पढ़ी जरूर है बट सोची नहीं है. If all of these functions of economy have to be done by the government, अगर गवर्नमेंट ने ही ये सारे फंक्शंस करने हैं, करेंसी क्रिएशन, करेंसी सर्कुलेशन, सर्टिफिकेशन एक्सेट्रा, why do I separately need a central bank? Why do I need a central bank? क्या जरूरत है सेंट्रल बैंक बनाने की? आरबीआई की जरूरत क्या है? Why can't the functions of the RBI be done by the finance ministry? Why does, and ठीक है, maybe India has a different story. Every country in the world has a central bank. Why do I need it? क्यों बने सेंट्रल बैंक? Central bank is completely subservient to the government. Government appoints the governor of RBI. तो चेक्स एंड बैलेंस का तो कोई हिसाब किताब ही नहीं है. क्या रेगुलेशन? फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री क्यों नहीं कर सकती रेगुलेशन? Why can't finance ministry do regulation? Why do I need to give bank rights of currency? Why can't government regulate? यार एक बात बताओ, फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री और रेगुलेशन नहीं करती क्या? फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री और भी तो रेगुलेशन करती है. एंड आर द सेंट्रल बैंक एंड द गवर्नमेंट एक्चुअली डिफरेंट? कोई एक्चुअल डिफरेंस है सेंट्रल बैंक और गवर्नमेंट में? हु इज अपॉइंटिंग द चीफ ऑफ द सेंट्रल बैंक? हु इज अपॉइंटिंग द चीफ ऑफ द सेंट्रल बैंक? अरे अगर इस टाइप का रीजन होता कि ऑपोजिशन वाले क्या बोलेंगे वगैरह, देन एवरी कंट्री वुड नॉट हैव अ सेंट्रल बैंक ना. So government could have simply created one department of finance ministry called finance ministry banking department. अच्छा चलो, let me ask you this. See, देखो आपको अब पता है आरबीआई, सोच के जवाब दो ना, सोच के जवाब दो. गवर्नमेंट कहती ये मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस है, आई एम क्रिएटिंग अ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ बैंकिंग. This Ministry of Bank will now act as central bank. इस मिनिस्टर को भी गवर्नमेंट ही अपॉइंट करती, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ही अपॉइंट करती या प्रेसिडेंट अपॉइंट करते? सेंट्रल बैंक आरबीआई के जो गवर्नर हैं उनको भी सेंट्रल बैंक की गवर्नमेंट ही अपॉइंट करती है. गवर्नमेंट कैन चेंज आफ्टर 5 years. सेंट्रल बैंक गवर्नर चेंजेस every 3 years टू प्रिवेंट करप्शन. हाउ? कुछ भी मत बोलो, सोच के बोलो. टू रेगुलेट इन्फ्लेशन. व्हाई कांट दिस मिनिस्ट्री रेगुलेट इन्फ्लेशन? ये मिनिस्ट्री कर लेती रेगुलेट. सोच के बोलो यार. Government would produce unlimited money. What is stopping the government now? Printing of more money. Government can still print more money if they want. Let's say government wants to print more money. They tell me, Shivan, we will appoint you as governor central bank. Your first job is to print more money. I will say yes. Why is ministry not stable? Central bank is just as stable as ministry. Chalo, at least this tells me that you have never thought of this issue yourself. Am I right? Before today, you have not thought of this because none of you has given the right answer. So I am assuming at least इस बात पे बता दो that till today you have not thought of this. है ना? ठीक है. Now we'll take a 2 minutes break. Then I'll come back and answer this question. ठीक है. We'll come back and answer this. All right. मैं पढ़ रहा था आपकी चैट. अभी तक देयर हैज नॉट बीन अ सिंगल करेक्ट आंसर बिकॉज आपकी गलती नहीं है इसमें. इट इज जस्ट अरे आपको पता नहीं हो सकता करेक्ट आंसर. ठीक है. देयर इज नो वे यू नो द राइट आंसर बिकॉज आई डिडंट नो. देयर इज नो वे यू कैन नो. अभी तक देयर इज नो राइट आंसर. इट हैज नथिंग बिकॉज यू आर लुकिंग एट इट from you've never seen the background history of why central banks are created. You are trying to extrapolate, right? और आप कुछ भी लिख रहे हो. तो अब रुक जाते हैं. अब let's try and understand why there is creation of RBI or any central bank in the world. ठीक है. अब प्लीज चैट बंद कर लेना प्लीज. अभी मैसेज राहुल प्रसाद का है लास्ट. इसके आगे मुझे कोई मैसेज नहीं दिखना चाहिए. ठीक है. नाउ अभी आई वॉज फेसिंग द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ गोल्ड बीइंग द लिमिटिंग फैक्टर. ठीक है. इस चीज को थोड़ा और डिटेल में देखते हैं. ये ट्रेड वाली चीज बाद में समझेंगे. पहले लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड एसेट एंड लायबिलिटी. अभी क्या हो रहा था इन दिस सिस्टम. आई जस्ट रिवाइज व्हाट वी वर स्टडीइंग. I have 1000 kilograms of gold, 1 lakh gram of gold. 1 lakh gram of gold becomes 1 crore gold coins. So I have 1000 kg of gold, and against these 1000 kg of gold, keeping these 1000 kg of gold as the full reserve, I have 1 crore gold coins in the economy. Then from these 1 crore gold coins, I created 100 crore paper notes. This is what I have done so far. है ना? Now, I want to increase this number of gold coins from 1 crore. If I am able to have 2 crore gold coins, I will be able to grow my economy. The problem here is that I don't have any more gold in my country. मेरी country में कोई और gold exist नहीं करता. Right? No more gold is there in my country, so I can't actually physically have more gold. Let us understand the concepts of asset and liability first. You have heard these words before. I am assuming ऐसा तो कोई नहीं है जिसको इस वर्ड का मतलब नहीं पता. In this case, there are two things: 1000 kg of gold and 100 crore paper notes. Which of these is my asset? Of course, I am sure you are aware that 1000 kg of gold is the asset. 1000 kg of gold is the thing that is my asset. That is the thing I own, that is giving me benefits. 100 crore paper notes are my liability. I can be asked to return a gold equivalent to them at any time. I am liable to return equivalent amount of gold to these paper notes at any point of time. Right? I am liable to return gold, which is my asset, in return of these paper notes. How am I able to issue these paper notes? I am issuing these paper notes. I am able to issue these paper notes, which are my liability, because I have an asset in the form of gold. I am able to issue paper notes, which are my liability, because I have an asset to back that. I have an asset as a standard, as a backing, as a full reserve. ये asset है, इसीलिए मैं ये पेपर नोट्स इशू कर पा रहा हूं. अगर ये एसेट नहीं होता, अगर ये 1000 kg गोल्ड की जगह 500 kg गोल्ड होता, तो इंस्टेड ऑफ 100 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स आई वुड बी एबल टू इशू ओनली 50 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स. ठीक है. नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड द सिचुएशन. फॉर यू टू बिलीव द प्रॉमिस, फॉर यू टू बिलीव कि इस पेपर नोट पे जो प्रॉमिस लिखा है, फॉर यू टू बिलीव द promise on this paper notes, what do you need to believe? You need to believe that I have the ability to repay. If you think I have the ability to repay, अगर आपको लगता है कि मेरे पास ability है to repay, क्या आप एक्चुअली रोज जाके चेक करोगे ये लो गोल्ड दो, वापस नोट्स लो, गोल्ड दो? नहीं. You will have a general belief, you will have a general belief that I do have the ability to repay you in gold coins when you possibly might need it. Right? आपका एक जनरल बिलीफ है that I have the ability to repay to you. मैंने देखा, I am the government here. मैंने क्या देखा? Let's look at it from my perspective. I am the ruler, I am the monarch of this kingdom. मैंने देखा यार कि in a year, maximum in a year, मैक्सिमम हद मचती है तो 1/3 ऑफ द पीपल आस्क फॉर गोल्ड कॉइन्स ओनली. इन अ ईयर मेरी कंट्री में देयर आर लेट्स से 10,000 पीपल. आउट ऑफ दीज 10,000 ओनली 1/3 इन अ ईयर मैक्सिमम. आज तक ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि 1/3 से ज्यादा आए गए हों और उन्होंने गोल्ड मांगा हो. जनरली तो 10% भी नहीं मांगते, कभी हद मच जाती है तो 1/3 मांगते, नहीं तो दे डोंट आस्क फॉर गोल्ड. जनरली दे डोंट आस्क फॉर गोल्ड. ठीक है. नाउ थिंक अबाउट इट. मुझे लगता है कि लोग 1/3 लोग ही गोल्ड मांगते हैं. राइट? 1/3 ज्यादा लोग गोल्ड नहीं मांगते. राइट? सो एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, व्हाट इज द अमाउंट ऑफ गोल्ड आई एक्चुअली नीड टू हैव? अगर 1/3 लोग ही गोल्ड मांगते हैं तो मेरे पास एक्चुअली कितना गोल्ड होना चाहिए? मेरे पास होना चाहिए 333 kg ऑफ गोल्ड. मेरे पास 333 kg ऑफ गोल्ड होना चाहिए एट एनी पॉइंट. राइट? आपको नहीं पता चलना चाहिए कि मेरे पास 333 kg है. You should not get to know that I only have 333 kg. If I am telling you I have 1000 kg, मैंने आपको बता रखा है मेरे पास 1000 kg है. ठीक है. If I don't have 1000 kg, I have merely 333 kg. Even then there will be no problem. तब भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी. Right? Because this 1/3 is a very high number. General number is 10%. मैंने 33% अज्यूम कर रखा है, तो मुझे पता है कि प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी. So I am telling you I have it. राइट? यू थिंक आई हैव इट, बट एक्चुअली गोल्ड इतना है. So in relative to, I can say here, in relative to the number of paper notes, if I have issued 100 crore paper notes, for them I actually only need to have 333 kg of gold. Actually I need to have 333 kg of gold for 100 crore paper notes. How much gold do I actually have? I have 1000 kg of gold. मेरे पास actually 1000 kg of gold है. So how many paper notes can I actually issue? I can issue 300 crore paper notes. 3 times of this I can issue. मैं 300 करोड़ के पेपर नोट्स इशू कर सकता हूं, राइट? इफ आई कैन इशू 300 crore of paper notes, this problem gets solved. Now I have 300 crore of paper notes circulating. Now the value has increased. आपको अभी भी मैंने नोट की वैल्यू चेंज नहीं करी है. पेपर नोट इज स्टिल वैल्यूड एट दिस मच. अभी भी एक पेपर नोट 0.01 ग्राम ऑफ गोल्ड 100 पेपर नोट आपको दे सकते हैं. आई जस्ट डोंट हैव द रिक्विजिट अमाउंट ऑफ गोल्ड. मेरे पास है नहीं, बट मैंने अपनी ग्रोथ तो करवा ली. नाउ आई एम ग्रोइंग. नाउ द ग्रोथ इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, है ना? जैसे ही मैं थोड़ा सा कोई टफ कॉन्सेप्ट बताता हूं, यू से वंस मोर, कोई बात नहीं. देखो, आई हैव वन, आई एम, अच्छा चलो मोस्टली समझ तो आ गया होगा. आई एम होपिंग मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड. I had 1000 kg of gold. I was able to issue 100 crore of paper notes. In a year, I saw that only 1/3 people actually came to take gold coins. Actually, सिर्फ 1/3 लोग ही आते हैं, right? Actually, 1/3 लोग ही आते हैं to take gold coins. So I only needed 333 kg. चाहे आपको मैंने बोल रखा हो I have 1000 kg, मेरे को actually 333 kg ही चाहिए थे to issue this amount, because 1/3 से ज्यादा लोग आते ही नहीं है कभी, right? So with 333 kg I could issue 100 crore paper notes. 100 crore paper notes was the money circulating. मेरे पास actual कितना गोल्ड है? 1000 kg of gold है. मेरे पास है 1000 kg of gold, actually है. तो मैं 1000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड के अगेंस्ट 300 करोड़ के पेपर नोट्स इश्यू कर दूंगा तो भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी, क्योंकि मैक्सिमम 1/3 लोग ही आते हैं चेंज कराने, राइट? राइट? अब यहां पर प्रॉब्लम क्या है? यहां पर प्रॉब्लम है कि यू शुड नॉट नो दिस रियलिटी. यू शुड नॉट नो दिस रियलिटी. दिस इज रियलिटी. ठीक है, 2 कॉलम में बनाते हैं. 1 इज रियलिटी. रियलिटी राइट नाउ इज 1000 kg गोल्ड एंड कितनी करेंसी? 300 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स. What do you need to think is happening? आपको क्या लगता है? 300 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स आप तो ऐसे देखते हो, इक्वल टू 3000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड. आई नीड टू मेक यू थिंक. I need to make you think that I have 3000 kg of gold. I don't need to have 3000 kg of gold. If you think this, actual real is this, कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, बिकॉज लोग आते ही नहीं 1/3 से ज्यादा, तो प्रॉब्लम तो आएगी नहीं. बट आपको यह सोचना जरूरी है. यू नीड टू थिंक दिस, ओनली देन यू विल एक्सेप्ट. ये बात समझ आई? यू थिंक दिस, रियलिटी इज दिस. ये बात समझ आई? कोई लिख रहा है चैट में, बेसिकली आप ब्लफ कर रहे हैं. कभी सोचना, आप मानते हो कि एक पीस ऑफ पेपर की वैल्यू 500 रुपए है ना? है थोड़ी, है तो वो ब्लफ ही. The notes that we accept as currency, if let's say you want to take this pen, पेन की तो एक्चुअल वैल्यू है. आप मुझे 100 रुपीज का नोट दो और मैं आपको ये पेन दे दूं. एक्चुअली तो ये नोट की कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, इट द वैल्यू इज ओनली इन माई माइंड। वही मैं आपको अभी दिखाने वाला हूं, देखते हैं क्या होता है। नाउ आई वॉन्ट यू टू थिंक, मैं चाहता हूं कि आप ये समझो, इन दिस केस माई एसेट्स आर 3000 kg of gold and this is my liability. अब this reason is why the central bank exists. मैं अब क्या करूंगा, अब मैं आपको दिखाता हूं what I'll do to make you believe that this is what is happening. अरे यार चैट बंद रखो ना, आपने यस बोल दिया, प्लीज स्टॉप द चैट, डाउट्स के लिए नहीं है वो, आई नो दिस इज डिफिकल्ट बट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इट। एक बात मैं कितनी बार कह सकता हूं यार, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम माई साइड ऑल्सो, है ना। आई विल से दिस इज गवर्नमेंट, दिस इज मी, मैं अलग हूं, सेंट्रल बैंक अलग है, हैं हम सेम ही, आई एम अपॉइंटिंग द चीफ ऑफ सेंट्रल बैंक, बट आपको मैं कहूंगा सेंट्रल बैंक अलग है। सेंट्रल बैंक की एसेट्स देखते हैं, सेंट्रल बैंक के पास है 1000 kg ऑफ गोल्ड। मैं आपको ये एक्चुअली है, दिस इज रियली देयर। सेंट्रल बैंक की लायबिलिटी है, सेंट्रल बैंक की लायबिलिटी है 300 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स, ठीक है। सेंट्रल बैंक की लायबिलिटी है 300 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स। द मोमेंट यू सी दिस रियलिटी, दिस इज रियल, द मोमेंट यू सी दिस रियलिटी यू विल थिंक देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम, यू विल थिंक यार ये तो प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ गड़बड़ चल रही है। आई विल से टू सेंट्रल बैंक, I promise to give central bank $200 gold, 2000 kg of gold in return of 200 crore पेपर नोट्स। अब देखो क्या हो रहा है, मैंने प्रॉमिस किया सेंट्रल बैंक को दैट इफ यू गिव मी 200 करोड़ पेपर नोट्स आई विल गिव यू 200 करोड़ वर्थ ऑफ गोल्ड, दैट इज 2000 kg गोल्ड मैं आपको दे दूंगा अगर आप मुझे पेपर नोट्स लाके दोगे। मेरे पास गोल्ड है नहीं, आई डोंट हैव दिस गोल्ड, बट बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ यू ट्रस्ट द गवर्नमेंट सो मच, आप मुझे इतना ट्रस्ट करते हो कि आप मानते हो कि अगर मैंने कोई प्रॉमिस किया है, इफ अ गवर्नमेंट हैज मेड अ प्रॉमिस इट इज अ सॉवरेन गारंटी, government will actually fulfill this promise. Whether they have gold or not is not your concern. मैंने आपको क्या कहा था, you don't need to see the gold being changed, you merely need to think that I have the capability of making this promise fulfilled. If you think I have the capability of making this promise fulfilled, आप ये notes accept कर लोगे। तभी मैं बार बार इस पॉइंट को स्ट्रेस कर रहा था, you merely need to think that I have the capability of fulfilling this. आपको तो ये भी नहीं पता कि वहां पर 1000 kg गोल्ड पड़ा है या नहीं पड़ा, राइट। यू डोंट नो इफ 1000 kg गोल्ड इज लाइंग देयर, राइट। यू merely need to think that I have the capability. Now out of thin air, through this promise, I have now created capability to repay gold to you. अब what is happening now, government is promising central bank, सेंट्रल बैंक इश्यूज करेंसी, सेंट्रल बैंक की एसेट्स और लायबिलिटीज देखते हैं। सेंट्रल बैंक की एसेट्स है 1000 kg गोल्ड और 2000 kg गोल्ड का एक प्रॉमिस फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, ये इसके एसेट है। आई हैव प्रॉमिस्ड यू आई विल हेल्प यू, दिस प्रॉमिस इज एन एसेट टू यू, राइट। दिस प्रॉमिस इज अ लायबिलिटी टू मी एंड एसेट टू यू। इफ आई हैव प्रॉमिस्ड आई विल गिव यू समथिंग, आपके लिए तो वो एसेट है, मेरे लिए वो लायबिलिटी है। Central bank has assets of 1000 kg gold, 2000 kg gold promise. Now central bank has a total asset of 3000 kg gold. It can issue currency worth 3000 kg gold. अब आपको लगेगा सब ठीक है, because you see this promise as inviolable guarantee कि गवर्नमेंट ने कहा है तो होगा ही. Because you see this promise as inviolable guarantee, you have trust in the central government, you have trust in the central authority, then you think definitely this promise will be fulfilled. I might not have the capability of fulfilling it, but you think I have the capability of fulfilling it, right? Now let's come to why central bank is necessary. क्यों जरूरत है central bank की? I cannot promise myself. मैं खुद को थोड़ी कह सकता हूं that I promise to give you 2000 crores worth of gold, 2000 kg of gold when you receive coins. Can I make the promise to myself? Can this promise be made by the government to the government? खुद को promise क्या होता है? खुद को promise है तो execute ही कर लो. Because this promise needs to be created, a new special authority needs to be created. This is why every country in the world has a central bank. अगर मैं कहता कि मैंने खुद को प्रॉमिस किया है कि मैं कर दूंगा, तो आप नहीं मानते. आप सेंट्रल बैंक से डील कर रहे हो. सेंट्रल बैंक कहता है मुझे गवर्नमेंट से प्रॉमिस मिला हुआ है, ये लो पैसे. आप कहते हो ठीक है. नाउ स्पेशलाइजेशन इज रिक्वायर्ड, बिकॉज ये एसेट क्रिएट करना था मुझे. कुछ समझ आ रहा है? आर यू एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई एवरी कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड हैज अ सेंट्रल बैंक? यही नहीं पता होता मोस्ट लोगों को. पूरा आरबीआई पढ़ जाते हैं. समझ आ रहा है? व्हाई डू यू नीड अ सेंट्रल बैंक? अब सुनो. नाउ थिंग्स विल बिकम मोर क्लियर. अब आपको समझ आएगा दुनिया कैसे चलती है. देयर विल बी सम पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड who will say, there will be some people in the world who will say, इन लोगों को ट्रस्ट मत करो, इनकी जो करेंसी है, वी डोंट बिलीव इन देयर अथॉरिटी. देखो करेंसी आपके पास नोट्स हैं, यू हैव पेपर नोट्स, आई हैव पेपर नोट्स. वॉट एवर पेपर नोट्स यू हैव, they have no value till they only have value till you believe in them. You believe in them, तभी you are using them and accepting them. Right? You believe in them. आप बिलीव करते हो करेंसी में, राइट? तभी you believe in this currency, only that is the only reason that currency has value. If there are some people who stop believing the central authority, they will say, I don't believe this currency anymore. I don't believe this currency anymore. Central authorities are not believable. So let me create a public decentralized currency that the public can actually believe in. कुछ समझ आया? ये क्यों हो रहा है दुनिया में? People don't believe in the sanctity of the promise of the central government. They turn to currencies that are decentralized. आप नोट खोल के देखो, उस आपके हर नोट पे गारंटीड बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लिखा है. ओनली दैट इज द ओनली रीजन यू बिलीव इन इट. अब सुनो, अब यहां क्या हो रहा है. इन दिस सिस्टम द सेंट्रल बैंक हैज 1000 kg of gold, 2000 kg of promise of gold from the government. With this, it is able to issue currency worth 3000 kg of gold. Combining these two, the central government is able to issue currency worth 3000 kg of gold. Now through this measure I am able to increase the amount of currency in circulation. अब मैंने circulation में currency जो है वो बढ़ा दी. If I am now able to increase circulation, there is an increase in growth. अब growth हो जाएगी, right? Now there can be growth easily, and you will also believe it. This system is called fractional reserve system. Whatever I have issued, whatever currency I have issued, I have kept only a fraction of it as a reserve. Earlier it was full reserve system. Earlier it was full reserve system. Now it is fractional reserve system. Government has made a promise to RBI. RBI has made a promise to you. And you have an inherent belief in this promise. Because of this inherent belief in this promise, you continue to use the paper notes. Because you feel that this promise and this promise are true, you continue to believe in these notes. Now, in India, this fractional reserve system was carried on from 1927 to 1957. From 1927 to 1957, we had something close to a fractional reserve system. आपने सुना होगा किसी के कभी कभी कि लोग कह रहे थे कि $1 used to be equal to 1 rupee earlier. पहले तो $1 1 rupee बराबर होते थे. अब $1 1 rupee देखो कितना खराब हो गए. सरकार ने कितना खराब काम किया. $1 was equal to 1 rupee when we were following this fractional reserve system. Today we are not following this fractional reserve system. Today this fractional reserve system is also not being followed. पहले at least 1/3, although 1/3 is a hypothetical figure, this is not the actual figure. पहले 1/3 करेंसी का तो गोल्ड रखा जाता था. पहले 1/3 तो गोल्ड रखा जाता था, अब तो 1/3 भी गोल्ड नहीं रखा गया है. The current currency we have is inconvertible money. Can you go to the RBI at this stage? इस स्टेज पे भी योर करेंसी वॉज कन्वर्टेबल. आप चाहते तो कन्वर्ट करा सकते थे अपनी करेंसी गोल्ड में. देयर वॉज ओनली अ फ्रैक्शन ऑफ गोल्ड दैट दे वर होल्डिंग. ओनली अ फ्रैक्शन ऑफ गोल्ड वॉज बीइंग हेल्ड. दैट डिड नॉट मीन दैट यू कुड नॉट गेट योर करेंसी कन्वर्टेड. आप अभी भी अपनी करेंसी कन्वर्ट करा सकते थे, बस क्योंकि 1/3 लोग ही आते थे कन्वर्ट कराने के लिए, इसलिए मैंने 1/3 रखी थी. राइट नाउ today's money is inconvertible. Open a currency note and see it. Open a currency note and see it. Right? If you see the currency note, what does it say? I promise to pay bearer sum of 100 rupees, not gold in place of 100 rupees. Now it says, I promise to pay bearer sum of 100 rupees. Let's see what that means. अब अभी भी मेरे पास क्या प्रॉब्लम है? आई एम लिमिटेड टू 1/3 ऑफ द गोल्ड. ठीक है, still I am limited to 1/3 of the gold. If this is the circular flow model, these are households, these are firms. I have 1000 kg of gold. I can only circulate 300 kg paper, 300 crore of paper notes. इसके बियॉन्ड तो मैं नहीं जा सकता. आई कैन नॉट गो बियॉन्ड 300 करोड़ नाउ. 1/3 तो मुझे रखना ही है. तो नाउ अगेन देयर इज अ लिमिटेशन. ऑल्दो आई हैव गॉन फ्रॉम 100 crore to 300 crores, there is still a limitation that exists. I cannot now go to 600 crores without getting more gold. And the point is, this gold, this is the maximum limit. ये तो नहीं ही बढ़ा सकता मैं, right? Now there is a new problem. अब मैं आगे growth कैसे करूं? 300 के beyond मैं growth कैसे करूं? The only solution now is to de-link. I need to de-link gold and currency. अभी मेरी gold और currency linked है, चाहे कैसे भी linked है, there is some link. Now I need to de-link it. If I don't de-link it, their growth will be stopped further. So I need to de-link it. How do I de-link? If I am able to de-link, I can issue more and more currency. If I am able to de-link, now I can issue more currency. More currency I issue, more growth can happen. Right? Now, to de-link, so that I can issue more currency, what do I need to do? There are two things. One, अभी तक value of currency was being enforced through gold. So far, the value of currency was being enforced through gold. Gold की यहां पर value क्या थी? इस transaction में gold क्यों है? यहां पर gold क्यों exist करता है? Gold दो reasons से है. एक तो gold gives value to the paper note, and gold increases the acceptability of that paper note. यही रीजन है. बिकॉज एवरीवन नोज कि ये एक पेपर नोट गोल्ड के बराबर है, गोल्ड से चेंज किया जा सकता है, तभी लोग एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, नहीं तो लोग एक्सेप्ट करना बंद कर देंगे. यही तो वैल्यू थी गोल्ड की. दिस वाज अल्टीमेटली व्हाट गोल्ड वाज डूइंग हियर. गोल्ड की एक वैल्यू थी पेपर नोट से लिंक्ड कि 100 पेपर नोट्स आर इक्वल टू 0.01 ग्राम ऑफ गोल्ड. ये काम कर रहा था. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस देयर वाज एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी ऑफ पेपर नोट, बिकॉज पीछे गोल्ड था. लोग एक्सेप्ट इसलिए कर रहे थे कि पीछे गोल्ड पड़ा है. राइट? अब मुझे अगर इन दोनों का कोई और सोल्यूशन मिल जाए, if I am able to find some other solution to this problem, then I can remove the effect of gold from my currency. मैं गोल्ड को हटा सकता हूं अगर मुझे इन दोनों प्रॉब्लम्स का एक सोल्यूशन मिल जाए. What can I do? First, I can enforce the value by order. I can order that this piece of paper has a value of 100 rupees. This piece of paper has a value of 100 rupees worth. This I can enforce via an order. The other word for government order is fiat. This is the definition of fiat money, जो सब रटते हैं बट किसी को पता नहीं होती. In the form of a coin or currency, and value is due to the order of an authority. मैंने गोल्ड हटा दिया, पहले वैल्यू गोल्ड से थी. I now say I will give this value through an order, through a legal order. मैंने ये वैल्यू दी कि इस चीज की वैल्यू 100 रुपए है. वैल्यू तो मिल गई उसको 100 रुपए की. प्रॉब्लम है एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी की. नाउ देयर इज एन एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी प्रॉब्लम. लोग कहेंगे होगा ऑर्डर, मैं नहीं एक्सेप्ट करता, मैं तो गोल्ड ही लूंगा, मैं मना कर दूंगा. आई डोंट वांट टू टेक दिस नोट. You want this good? Give me gold. I want actual gold. I will not take the note because I don't believe in this order. Second, the problem of acceptability. I will say that it is illegal not to accept this money. If you do not accept this paper note, you are doing something illegal. Effectively, I am making this note a legal tender. What is the meaning of the word legal tender? I have enforced acceptability through my legal power. If you don't accept, you are doing something illegal. I will arrest you if you don't accept. Now it is legal tender. After I have come to these two positions where I have enforced value through a legal order and enforced acceptability through a legal order, now I no longer need gold. But if I have to remove gold, I get to these two positions. fiat money and legal tender. Fiat money is value enforced through an order. What is the meaning of the word fiat money? In the form of a coin or currency. Fiat money is in the form of a coin or currency, and the value is through the order of an authority. This authority can be a king, queen, government, whatever. What is the meaning of the word legal tender? Something is a legal tender if it meets these two conditions. One, it is fiat money, that means it is in this form. And two, it cannot be denied while extinguishing debt. This line is very, very important. लीगल टेंडर कैन नॉट बी डिनाइड. यू कैन नॉट डिनाई, आप मना नहीं कर सकते लीगल टेंडर लेने से इन रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर अ डेट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई गिव यू 1 pen. I give you 1 pen. Now you are in my debt. You have taken 1 pen from me. You have not given me anything back. You are indebted to me now. To remove this debt, you pay me 20 rupees. I cannot say no to that 20 rupees simply because they are in the form of Indian currency. I can say no because I might think value is 30 rupees. But I cannot deny currency to extinguish your debt. That is legal tender. If you give me currency in replacement of something that I give you, I have to accept it. These are the two words, fiat money and legal tender, जिस पे questions आते हैं. I am sure many of you who have read economy have read these words before. But I hope now you are able to understand the meaning of these words. Legal tender means fiat money that is acceptable for transactions in the country. You cannot say no to legal tender in a transaction. Fiat money क्यों बना? Because I had to enforce value and I had to remove gold. To enforce that value, I pass an order. Fiat money is defined as money that is in the form of coin or currency, and its value is through the order of an authority. Legal tender is defined as money which is fiat money and cannot be denied while extinguishing debt or in a transaction. Is this clear? ये बात क्लियर है यहां तक? समझ आया कहां से कहां आए हम? We learned full reserve system, fractional reserve system, then we learned this system. This is inconvertible money system, modern inconvertible money. Therefore, अब नोट पे क्या लिखा है? I promise to pay bearer sum of 100 rupees. You go to the RBI and give them 100 rupees. They will give you 2 notes of 50 rupees. Because value is no longer enforced through gold, value is enforced through a order. The value is 100 rupees because they say it is 100 rupees. Right? Now, legal tender is something. Legal tender means you cannot refuse to take this form of money for extinguishing debt. Legal tender is of two types, limited legal tender and unlimited legal tender. Limited legal tender means that beyond a limit, you can refuse payment. Let's say I have to give you 20,000 rupees and I give you 20,000 1 rupee coins. You can say no. You can say no, right? Limited legal tender is acceptable in transaction up to a limit. Limited legal tender. Legal tender matlab legally acceptable in transactions. Limited legal tender, limited till a limit it is acceptable in legal transactions. So in India, as the law stands today, if you look at coins, coins in India are limited legal tender. You can only accept, or you are forced to accept coins only up to a value of 1000 rupees. If you have to pay me 1000 rupees and you pay in coins, legally I am not allowed to say no. But if you have to pay 1500 and you pay in coins, I can say no, I will only take 1000 rupees in coins. This is written in the Coinage Act. Okay. Currency notes. Currency notes are unlimited legal tender. In whatever value that I have to give you, you have to give me 20,000 rupees. You give in the form of currency notes. I cannot say no. I have to accept them. Currency notes in India are unlimited legal tender. Coins in India are limited legal tender. Limited to what point? Limited to rupees 1000. This is unlimited legal tender to whatever limit. इस पे कोई लिमिट है या नहीं ये हम देखेंगे, राइट? Currency notes are unlimited legal tender. कितनी लिमिट है हम देखेंगे when we see taxation. But generally for the purpose of questions, this is unlimited. Coins are limited legal tender. Now, does the RBI, after issuing currency through fiat and this route, legal tender route, does the RBI still hold some gold? Yes. Earlier, RBI had proportional reserve system. Now, the philosophy is hold some minimum amount of gold. Hold some minimum amount of gold known as minimum reserve system. Minimum reserve system is RBI will keep some minimum amount of gold and securities. कुछ minimum amount वो अभी भी रखेंगे, right? This does not mean that there is any sort of convertibility. कोई भी convertibility नहीं है, right? They will just keep some minimum amount as reserve. Now, what is the disadvantage of this system? इस सिस्टम की सबसे बड़ी डिसएडवांटेज क्या है? थिंक. What is the disadvantage of this system? इस सिस्टम की डिसएडवांटेज क्या है? अगर चैट स्पैम नहीं कर रहे होते तो अभी तक आंसर आ गया होता. हाउ काउंटरफीटिंग? अरे कुछ भी कैसे काउंटरफीट हो जाएंगे? नोट्स, इंडियन करेंसी नोट्स कैन बी काउंटरफीटेड. Good. अरे no asset is a feature. How is it disadvantage? Disadvantage is government can choose to print as many notes as it wants. Who is stopping the government now from printing? We can now print as many notes as we want. Government will print as many notes. पहले तो government was limited by gold. अब government might just print as many notes as it wants. Right? Government can print as many notes as it wants. If government prints too many notes, currency will stop having any value. This was seen in Germany after World War II. The German currency after World War II was called the German Mark, M-A-R-K. The German government was in a lot of debt. The German government decided to print notes to repay that debt. People stopped believing in the legal tender value of that mark. जो fiat value थी, the value that was enforced by order. Right? If let's say today Pakistan government says we are printing this currency and the currency we print is equal to $100 trillion, will anybody believe it? No. So that currency will have no value. The value of this currency is merely your belief in this currency. Right? जो आपका belief है वही ये value है. नहीं तो जो नोट है, जो 2000 रुपए का नोट भी है, उस 2000 रुपए के नोट की मेकिंग कॉस्ट इज merely 2 रुपीस. 2 रुपए में वो नोट बन जाता है. उसकी वैल्यू 2000 रुपए है, वो इसीलिए है क्योंकि यू बिलीव इट टू बी रुपीज 2000. आप बिलीव करते हो कि वो 2000 रुपीज का है, वो बिलीफ आपका तब तक ही है till the time the government does not do something like this. If the government starts doing something like this, people will stop this belief. So what happened in Germany was German government printed huge amount of notes to repay their debt. People stopped believing in the currency and cigarettes became a method of exchange. People used to exchange cigarettes as a method of exchange. So currency only has value till the people believe in them. Milton Friedman is one of the greatest economists who has lived on this planet. Milton Friedman said, and this is a direct quote, he said, these pieces of paper, if there is a huge change in quantity in them, people's belief in them is shaken and they return to being pieces of paper rather than being currency notes, as was the case with the German mark after the Second World War. Right? So the value of today's currency is only there till you believe it has value. Otherwise, it has no value. अगर आपको लगता है उसमें वैल्यू है तो है, जब तक आपको लगता है उसमें वैल्यू है तब तक है, नहीं तो नहीं है. Now, we were reading the evolution of money. In the evolution of money, we firstly saw barter system, then we saw commodity money, then we saw metallic money, then we saw paper money. In paper money, we saw full reserve system, we saw fractional reserve system, and now we are at minimum reserve non-convertible money. Right? इसके अलावा भी there are three other things that we have to see. One is bank deposits, one is digital currency, and one is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency I will teach you in science and technology, not here. Digital currency and bank deposits we will see after we complete this topic of demand and supply of money, because they are not that different. Bank deposits, the moment we start banking, then we will see bank deposits, and related term is digital currency. We'll see that then, not now. Right? तो अभी तक हमने क्या पढ़ा है? अभी तक we have simply answered the question why money, and from this question we have answered various other questions like what are the characteristics of a currency. We have understood what is asset and liability. From this we have also understood the idea of full reserve, fractional reserve, and minimum reserve system. We have understood what is legal tender, and we have understood what is fiat money. Now, this was the first part of this chapter. Why do I need money? The second part of this chapter is the demand for money. What is the demand for money? ठीक है, अब ये नेक्स्ट पार्ट है, व्हाट इज द डिमांड फॉर मनी. अब हमने वाई मनी देख लिया और मनी कैसे आता है, क्यों आता है, वो हमने देख लिया. नाउ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड डिमांड ऑफ मनी एंड सप्लाई ऑफ मनी. फ्रॉम डिमांड एंड सप्लाई ऑफ मनी वी विल गो टू प्राइस ऑफ मनी, विच इज इंटरेस्ट रेट्स. फ्रॉम प्राइस ऑफ मनी वी विल गो टू हाउ गवर्नमेंट चेंजेस द इंटरेस्ट रेट्स, विच इज मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. What is the effect of government's change of interest rates? We will see in banking. तो अब ये हमारी प्रोसेस है. Now we have to come to demand of money. Demand of money is done for three things. तीन चीजों के लिए मनी डिमांड किया जाता है. One is transaction purpose, one is speculative purpose, and one is precautionary purpose. Now, after a 2-minute break, now we will understand these three through a mathematical equation. इन तीनों की हम एक मैथमेटिकल इक्वेशन डिराइव करेंगे. इस मैथमेटिकल इक्वेशन को जब हम यूज करेंगे, वी आर ट्राइंग टू लिंक. नाउ हम अल्टीमेटली क्या समझना चाह रहे हैं? वी आर ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड द लिंक बिटवीन इन्फ्लेशन एंड डिमांड फॉर मनी एंड सप्लाई ऑफ मनी एंड प्राइस ऑफ मनी. इन चीजों में हम एक रिलेशनशिप बनाना चाह रहे हैं. उसके लिए वी विल हैव टू फर्स्ट डिराइव एन इक्वेशन फॉर ट्रांजैक्शन मोटिव, स्पेक्युलेटिव मोटिव एंड प्रिकॉशनरी मोटिव. प्रिकॉशनरी मोटिव इज नॉट इंपॉर्टेंट, बाकी दोनों के लिए वील हैव टू डिराइव एन इक्वेशन. अब जो मैं आपको इक्वेशन डिराइव करने वाला हूं, दिस इज कॉल्ड द फिशर इक्वेशन इन इकोनॉमिक्स ऑप्शनल. जो इकोनॉमिक्स ऑप्शनल वाले होंगे उनको पता होगा. फिशर इक्वेशन के बाद देयर इज आल्सो अ कैम्ब्रिज इक्वेशन, राइट. कैम्ब्रिज इक्वेशन इज एक्चुअली also it's slightly tough to derive. That is why we will not do a completely accurate derivation, क्योंकि ये GS में आपसे कभी कोई नहीं पूछेगा और ऑप्शनल वाले कहीं और पढ़ लेंगे, right? So there is a Pigou equation and there is, which is known as the Cambridge equation, and there is a Fisher equation. We have to basically understand the logic. We are not going to do a perfect derivation. We are going to do a logical derivation that will get us to that point. That will explain to us a lot of other terms as well. Before I go there, I will give you a 3 minutes break. And after this, we will start with demand for money. All right. All right. All right. Now, let's first understand the demand for money. Now, demand for money is of 3 types. ठीक है, 3 टाइप्स की डिमांड फॉर मनी होती है. मनी इज डिमांडेड मेनली फॉर 3 रीजंस. वन इज फॉर ट्रांजैक्शंस, आपको ट्रांजैक्शंस करनी है उसके लिए आप डिमांड करते हो. वन इज स्पेकुलेशन. दिस इज स्लाइटली डिफिकल्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड, वील अंडरस्टैंड दिस. and last is emergency demand, यानी कि precautionary. Although we can include this in transactions, you keep some money aside for emergency because you will have to do some transactions in emergency. This does not, we don't understand this intuitively. हमें एकदम से अंदर से समझ नहीं आता कि मनी हम इस चीज के लिए भी डिमांड करते हैं. But transaction demand is fairly simple. Transaction demand we demand money so that we can do transactions, है ना? When I explain this to you, if you are intelligent enough, you can use this explanation to become a much better investor in the world. ठीक है, वो देखते हैं अगर आपको समझ आता है या नहीं. पहले ये देखते हैं ट्रांजैक्शन डिमांड. One reason of me demanding money is transactions. I am asking for money, I am demanding money because I want to do transactions. I want to buy things, I want to sell things, etc. Let us look at this economy. मान लो ये एक economy है जिसमें there are 4 people, A, B, C and D. There are 4 people in this economy, A, B, C and D. A pays rupees 500 to B. B sells to A 10 goods worth rupees 50 each. A pays to B rupees 500. B sells to A 10 goods of rupees 50 each. B pays rupees 500 to C. C sells to B 1 good of rupees 500. C pays rupees 500 to D. D sells to C 2 goods of rupees 250 each. ठीक है, ये 3 ही ट्रांजैक्शन हुई हैं इस इकोनॉमी में. देयर आर द 3 ट्रांजैक्शंस. A pays 500 to B, B pays 500 to C, C pays 500 to D, and these goods are sold. ये goods sell हुए हैं. The total value of transactions in this economy, the total value of transactions in this economy is how much? Total value of transactions in this economy is how much? It is 1500 rupees. There were 10 goods of rupees 50 each. There was 1 good of rupees 500. There was 2 goods of rupees 250. If I was to see the value of all goods produced in this economy, अभी बस एक assumption हम रखेंगे that all of these goods are final goods. We will keep the assumption that all of these goods are final goods. ये assumption break करके भी ये same equation derive की जा सकती है, but I will not do that because that will waste our time. Assume that all of these goods are final goods, right? What is now the value of all final goods exchanged? What is the value of final goods exchanged in the economy now? Obviously 10 goods of 50, so 500 value here, 1 of 500, so 500 here, 2 of 250, so 500 here. So in total this economy has exchanged value of 1500. Value of all final goods exchanged, or all whatever goods are exchanged, are the goods that have been produced. So value of final goods produced in this economy is how much? Also 1500, which is the GDP. So in this economy, value of all transactions is equal to the GDP, which is value of all goods produced. If you may recall, this is nothing but the expenditure method. How much expenditure is being done in the economy? It is the same as expenditure, is the same as production, is the same as income. Expenditure was also equal to GDP. This is expenditure, all transactions are expenditure, and is equal to GDP, right? Now, what is the total amount of money in this economy? How much money is there in this economy? कितना पैसा है इस इकोनॉमी में टोटल? A, B, C, D, 4 people are there. How much money is there? Only 500 rupees is there in this economy. The total amount of money in this economy is rupees 500. Rupees 500 is changing hands 3 times. पहले यहां rupees 500 ने चेंज किए, फिर यहां. So rupees 500 is there. It is changing hands 3 times. Right? So I can also write from this, I can also write that the total value of transactions in this economy is total money in this economy into number of times money changes hands. है ना? I can write total value of transactions, which is 1500, is equal to total money in this economy into number of times the money changes hands. How many times has money changed hands? 3 times. Total money is 500. So this value also will come out to 1500. है ना? ये भी ठीक लग रहा है? Now I can say total money in this economy, or I will write a better term now, total money demanded, this money for this economy for transactions, ताकि ट्रांजैक्शन हो पाए इस इकोनॉमी में. कितने पैसे डिमांड किए इस इकोनॉमी ने? 500 रुपए. आप हमें 500 रुपए दे दो तो हम अपनी सारी ट्रांजैक्शंस कर पाएंगे. सो टोटल मनी डिमांडेड इनटू नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स money changes hands is equal to GDP. GDP को हमने इस ग्राफ में कैसे समझा था? In this graph we have understood GDP is price level into output. PL into Y. You must remember this. हमने ये ग्राफ बनाया था एग्रीगेट डिमांड एग्रीगेट सप्लाई का, कई बार बना चुके हैं. प्राइस लेवल इस साइड पे, नीचे आउटपुट होता था. प्राइस लेवल इनटू आउटपुट इज मनी वैल्यू ऑफ जीडीपी. राइट? रेवेन्यू कैलकुलेट करना है, अगर मनी वैल्यू में कैलकुलेट करना है तो जितना आउटपुट है इनटू प्राइस लेवल. राइट? नाउ टोटल मनी डिमांडेड इज द मनी डिमांड फॉर ट्रांजैक्शंस. एमडीटी लिख सकता हूं मैं इसको, मनी डिमांड फॉर ट्रांजैक्शन पर्पस इनटू नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स मनी चेंजेस हैंड इज नोन एज वेलोसिटी ऑफ मनी. MDT is total money demanded, MDT, for transaction purpose. Total money demanded for transaction purpose into velocity of money is equal to price level into real output. समझ आई ये बात? Is this clear? Now, money demanded for transaction purpose into velocity of money is equal to price level into Y real, or this is real output of the economy. है ना? This is what I have written. I can say that price level is equal to money demanded for transactions into velocity divided by real output. ये इक्वेशन पे कम से कम 10 बार क्वेश्चन आ चुका है यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स में, या तो वेलोसिटी पे या मनी से. एमडीटी क्या है? दिस एमडीटी, money demanded for transactions, this is the money in the economy. इकोनॉमी में इतना ही मनी है. ऑब्वियसली व्हेन वी विल रीच एन इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेज, जब हम इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेज पहुंच जाएंगे, देन मनी डिमांडेड एंड मनी सप्लाइड विल बी द सेम. अभी हम वहां पहुंचे नहीं है, अभी हम मनी सप्लाई पे आए नहीं है, बट व्हेन वी कम टू इक्विलिब्रियम स्टेज, मनी सप्लाई एंड मनी डिमांड विल बी द सेम. राइट, दैट्स क्लियर. मतलब जब पहुंच जाएंगे, हमने बहुत इक्विलिब्रियम्स देख लिए ऐसे, जब भी इक्विलिब्रियम आते हैं क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड क्वांटिटी सप्लाइड सेम हो जाती है. अभी हम सप्लाई पे पहुंचे नहीं है, बट व्हेन वी गेट देयर, this money demanded and money supplied will become the same, right, when we get there. So I can say that price level in an economy is money in the economy, amount of money in the economy into velocity divided by real output. Right? प्राइस लेवल नहीं पता तुम्हें? वरुण चौधरी, प्राइस लेवल कम से कम मतलब 50 बार तो बताया है होगा, जब वो हमने एग्रीगेट डिमांड एग्रीगेट सप्लाई वाला ग्राफ बनाया है. They must have made price level so many times. It's the same thing. In this economy we have, अभी तक हमने derive किया है ये, for this economy money in the economy which was 500 into velocity which was 3 was equal to GDP which was 1500. GDP can be written as price level into output, average price level into real output. This is the same thing we have done. मैंने कुछ अभी हमने इस इकोनॉमी पे लगाया है. I have not put this in the real world yet, but this logic makes sense so far. Yes or no? अब velocity of money. Velocity of money is what? Velocity of money is how many times money changes hands. And this is the output of the economy. What is the economy actually producing? The output of the economy. ठीक है? Now, here two schools of thought are there. हमारे लिए बिल्कुल, हमें बिल्कुल schools of thought पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. We don't need to see the schools of thought. Now, let's understand what is, let's understand what is happening here. Velocity. Velocity of money is how much times money changes hands. Now this depends on behavior of individuals. If in a country people spend more, velocity of money will be more. If in a country people save more, velocity of money will be less. How much time, if I'm more spending based country, if I'm a country where there is a lot of spending happening, velocity will be more. If I am a country where a lot of saving is happening, velocity will be less. People don't spend. Either of the cases, velocity in a country will largely be constant. We are talking of velocity at country level, not for one person. For one person, it can change day by day. But at the country level, this might be constant. That, okay, on an average, in this country, money changes hands these many times. On an average, that might be constant. And what did we say in case of real GDP when we were looking at classical economists? When we were looking at classical economists, they said that real GDP in the long run, this will become potential GDP. In the long run, we will come to potential GDP level. So in the long run this becomes constant, and for any country this is itself constant because of how much people are saving or spending. This is actually dependent on the behavior of people. Now in a case where velocity is constant and real output is also becoming constant at potential level in the long run, these two are constant. So price level in an economy is largely dependent on money in the economy. There is more money in the economy, there is more price level. There is less money in the economy, there is less price level. Right? More money in the economy, from this equation I can say more money in the economy means more price level, less money in the economy means less price level. कुछ समझ आया इससे? Are you able to relate to something? If I reduce the money supply, then money in the economy reduces, price levels go down. If I increase the money supply, price levels increase, inflation goes up. I can control inflation through amount of money in the economy. When money is cheaper, people spend more, there is more inflation. When money is expensive, there is less money, money is expensive, price levels come down. इस चीज पे कम से कम 10 बार क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है just on this equation. Almost everyone, including me, from 2 years back, used to mug up this relationship between price levels and money, right? Or have some intuitive logic. We will not trust our intuition, we will stick with an equation, because equations you are much less likely to forget, right? Ab, if I am able to control the money supply, I can control the price level. If I reduce the money supply, price level will go down. By reducing the money supply, I can reduce the inflation. By increasing the money supply, I can increase the inflation. There is a direct relationship between money supply and inflation in the economy. Right? Now, from this equation that we have derived, price level is equal to money into velocity of money पे भी question आ चुका है, divided by real output. Right? Now M here is money in circulation. जैसे वहां पर 500 रुपए सर्कुलेशन में था, यहां पर M is money in circulation. These are just two schools of thought regarding this equation. ये पहले भी हम ये डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. These schools of thought. We will just see the basics here. ये आपको नहीं भी समझ आता तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. As per this equation is agreed by both. हमने पहले भी देखा था, Keynesian economist and classical economist both agree to this equation. Both think this equation is correct. Classical economists say that this velocity is more or less constant in a country, and in the long run this will become equal to potential GDP. So this is the only factor that is important here. Classical economists say only M matters here, since velocity is a behavioral thing and real output in the long run is same as potential GDP. Keynesian economists will say that M is the most significant, that you are right. You say only M matters, we say M is the most significant. But this velocity can change in a country depending on seasonal factors. For example, in India, during Diwali, velocity will be very high. During, let's say, some February month, velocity will be lower than velocity in October or November. जब दिवाली होगी, फेस्टिवल सीजन होगा, तब ज्यादा होगी वेलोसिटी. दिस इज व्हाट दे से कि वेलोसिटी आल्सो चेंजेस, इसको कांस्टेंट मत मानो. एंड इसमें क्लासिकल्स क्या कह रहे थे? इन द लॉन्ग रन this is equal to potential GDP. What will the Keynesians say here? How long is too long? In the long run, we are all dead. This logic also we have studied before. Exactly what Manmohan Singh said in the parliament. In the long run, we are all dead. So this will also change. This also matters. Don't consider these constant. Keynesians say that yes, you are right that this is the most important factor. But even these factors matter. Don't ignore them. Classicals will say that no, this is the only important factor. These two don't matter. These are just two schools of thought to open your mind a little bit more. अगर आपको ये समझ नहीं आया, this is absolutely not required for any question that we will be asked. This is only asked in economics optional, not asked here. ठीक है, हमें नहीं पूछा जाएगा ये जीएस में, बिल्कुल भी नहीं, बट हमें ये इक्वेशन पता होनी चाहिए. Now, from this equation, we have understood one thing, which is the transaction demand of money. We were seeing that demand of money is of three types: transaction, speculative, precautionary. Transaction demand we have seen as money demanded for transactions into velocity divided by real output is equal to price level. Now I can understand the relationship between transaction demand and price level on money in the economy and price level through this. Now, demand in the economy is not only for transaction purposes. If you get an income, let's say you get an income, your income is, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. You spend 30,000 rupees every month. This is your expenditure. So this expenditure spending, this is for transactions. You have some surplus left over. Surplus is 70,000, let's say. What do you do with this 70,000? This is also a demand for money, which is known as the speculative demand for money. This is the next concept we have to understand. Speculative demand for money is a difficult concept to understand, but we will understand it today. We will spend 15 minutes and understand speculative demand of money. We will just understand the explanation. We will not go into a lot of detail. Start हम कल करेंगे. अब next 15 minutes we will spend and understand the speculative demand for money. ठीक है? I'm just taking a break for 2 minutes. I have been speaking since the morning. वही DAF के sessions चल रहे हैं. We now have about 925 people in our interview guidance program. 600 plus of them, as I showed you before, are students of Saarathi IAS in the mains course. Now that leads us to have a huge problem of me wanting or needing to speak to every single one of them. If now I have to speak to every single one of them, my voice is very amenable to break down very soon. नहीं, कल नहीं कराएंगे अभिषेक, कराएंगे तो अभी. Speculative demand of money I will do right now. I have waited this long to teach you this topic. It is the most interesting topic, but I'm just pausing for 1 minute to give my voice some rest. Then we will go to speculative demand for money. Okay. Now, let us first understand the meaning of this word speculation. अगर आपने, सही बता रहा हूं मैं आपको, if you were to listen to the next, I'm drinking coffee. if you were to listen to the next 15 minutes carefully and understand them, you can make more money in investments than is the value of this course within 1 to 2 weeks. ठीक है, अगर आप next 15 minutes ध्यान से सुन लो और आपको इन्वेस्ट करना आ जाए, I'm not teaching you how to invest, I'm just teaching you speculative demand of money. You can make more money from here than you have paid for this course. If you learn this and understand this, 99% of Indians who are investing in the stock market don't know this logic. And you also don't know this logic. You will just understand. Okay? So, let's say I have some surplus income. अभी मेरे पास कितना surplus income था? Please chat बंद रखना. My surplus income was 70,000 rupees. From this 70,000 rupees, what can I do? I can put them in a savings account. Let's say this savings account currently gives me 5% rate of interest. Let's say this savings account gives me 5% rate of interest. I have another option of using my surplus to buy some land. कि मैं इस surplus से कुछ land खरीद लूं. Let's see which is the better option and how these decisions are to be made. For the purpose of simplicity, let's say that I have, for purpose of simplicity, we are saying that I have 5 lakh rupees, or let's say we have 8 lakh rupees. Okay, I have 8 lakh rupees. If I put 8 lakh rupees in savings account, ignore inflation for now. Ignore inflation for now. If we put these 8 lakh rupees in savings account at 5% rate of interest, in 10 years, this value will become 10 lakh. This is not the accurate figure. We are just stipulating. Just bear with me for purpose of calculation. Now, savings account में अगर मैं 60 लाख रुपए को डाल दूं, right? You will say that in 10 years, this will become 10 lakh rupees. And 5% is the rate of interest. I know the value is not accurate. Just bear with me, right? This is one avenue of investment. Second is, I see that there is a piece of land. There is a piece of land. This piece of land currently costs 5 lakh rupees. And I think that in 10 years, this piece of land will start to be priced at 10 lakh rupees. Again, please ignore inflation for now. Assume there is 0% inflation for now. For this logic, let's assume there is 0% inflation. Okay. One option is, I see here, I put 8 lakhs in savings account, 5% rate of interest. In 10 years, it will become 10 lakh rupees. Second is, I see that there is 5 lakh rupees worth of land. In 10 years, this land will become 10 lakh rupees. Any rational person who knows this for a fact, let's say this is sure. Okay, let's say this is a sure thing. Any rational person will invest 5 lakh rupees here. With me so far? Any rational person in this condition will invest 5 lakh rupees here because they are going to get, from these 5 lakh, they are going to get 10 lakh. यहाँ 8 लाख लगाने पड़ रहे थे 10 लाख लेने के लिए, यहाँ 5 लाख में ही मिल जाएंगे. With me so far? Now, we assume in this economy that everyone has perfect information. Remember perfect market? Everyone has knowledge of everything. क्या prices हैं A to Z, कौन सी दुकान पे कितने price का आलू मिल रहा है, right? We assume in this market that everyone has perfect information. Now, I am not the only person who has 8 lakh rupees surplus. बहुत लोगों के पास 5 lakh rupees होगा. right? Now let us go to the perspective of this land owner. ये जो लैंड ओनर है जिसके पास ये लैंड अभी है जो इसको बेच रहा है, this landowner, he is this person who is selling this today. He says, I want to sell this for 5 lakh rupees, and everyone knows it will become 10 lakh rupees in 10 years. Everyone knows it will become 10 lakh rupees in 10 years. ये सबको पता है ये बात, ठीक है? Everyone is aware of this fact that this will become 10 lakh rupees in 10 years. He says, I want to sell for 5 lakh. Person A will go to him and say, yes, I will buy for 5 lakh. Person B goes to him and says, no, I will buy for 6 lakh. Why will person B buy for 6 lakh? Because if person B has this money, either he could put in savings account or buy this land. उसके पास तीसरा ऑप्शन नहीं है. Person B buys this, has 6 lakh rupees, has 8 lakh rupees, let's say. He can put, person B can put 8 in savings account. Savings account में तो उसको 10 लाख ही मिलेंगे. So in savings account, this person B would have to spend 8 lakh rupees to get 10 lakhs. Here he can spend 6 lakh to get 10 lakhs. It is not the same return now, but still इसको अभी तो फायदा ही हो रहा है. इसे 8 के 10 मिलते, अब इसको 6 के 10 मिल रहे हैं, तो B को फायदा हो रहा है. C will go to him. C will say, I will give you 7 lakhs. C will go to him and immediately give him 7 lakhs, because otherwise C would have gotten 10 lakhs in exchange for 8 lakhs. Now C is getting 10 lakhs in exchange for 7 lakhs. C कहेगा 7 में ले लो. D will go to him. D will say, I will pay you 7.99 lakhs. Is D benefiting? Yes, D is benefiting. Because D, earlier to get 10 lakhs, D had to invest 8 lakhs. Now D has to invest 7.99 lakh. And 7.99 lakh will give him 10 lakh. So D is also benefiting. So up beyond D, nobody will invest, right? Let's say E comes and he says, I will invest 8 lakhs. Beyond 8 lakhs, nobody will invest. Because 8 lakh से better तो है कि savings account में रख दो, right? So the moment he went to the market, he wanted, this landowner wanted to sell this for 5 lakh rupees. The moment he went to the market, he got a price of 8 lakh rupees. Why did he get this price? He got this because of future return on this investment. The future return of this investment was factored in, right? इसकी जो expected future value थी, the present value has changed automatically due to expected future value. Now everyone expects that this future value is rupees 10 lakh. तो ये प्रेजेंट वैल्यू तब तक बढ़ती रहेगी जब तक ये सेविंग्स अकाउंट के इक्विवेलेंट नहीं हो जाएगा. दिस वाज द ट्रांजैक्शन दैट वाज हैपनिंग इन द सेविंग्स अकाउंट. जब तक ये सेविंग्स अकाउंट के इक्विवेलेंट नहीं हो जाएगा तब तक ये वैल्यू बढ़ती ही जाएगी. Somebody will be willing to pay 8 lakhs for this land if it is going to turn into 10 lakhs later. The only thing nobody will be willing to do is pay more than 8 lakhs because savings account will give the same value. तो कहेगा यार मैं यहां क्यों लगाऊं, मैं savings account में लगा लेता हूं. Is this much clear to all of you? How the value of the land increased? Immediately, instantaneously, the future expected value was accounted for in the present value. Is this clear? ठीक है, good. Now अब हम समझते हैं स्पेकुलेशन कैसे की जाती है. Now tell me how. Now the landowner says, I will sell this for 8 lakh rupees. Now landowner says that I will sell this land for 8 lakh rupees. उसे भी समझ आ गई ये बात. He will sell this for 8 lakh rupees. ठीक है. Now tell me, और प्लीज सोच के, ध्यान से सोच के बताना, आरबीआई जैसा आंसर मत देना, सोच के आंसर देना. How should I decide if I want to buy this land? मैं कैसे डिसाइड करूं कि मुझे ये लैंड खरीदना है? It is expected that this land will become 10 lakh rupees in value after 10 years because some of highway project is coming and everyone knows about this highway project. सबको पता है कि हाईवे प्रोजेक्ट है. Should I invest in this land or not? Should I keep money in? दो ही ऑप्शन है मेरे पास, savings account or this. I have only two options. There is no third option. How do I decide this? सोच के. सेविंग्स अकाउंट में कितना रिटर्न मिलेगा? 8 lakhs to 10 lakhs. अभी ये दिख रहा है सेविंग्स अकाउंट में, वहां पर भी यही है. हाउ डू आई डिसाइड? इन्फ्लेशन इज 0. देयर इज, यार तुम सारी assumptions लिखवाओगे क्या? देयर इज गारंटी दैट यू विल गेट दिस रिटर्न. देयर इज नो रिस्क. both factors are equally non-risky. There is guarantee that you will get this return. There is no inflation. अब बताओ. There is no risk, there is no inflation, equal guarantee of getting the money. अब बताओ. चलो, at least some people are writing we don't know. There is no tax. My God. अलग अलग चीजें ढूंढो ताकि क्वेश्चन का आंसर ना करना पड़े. टैक्स है ना, रिटर्न ऑन लैंड, लैंड इज प्रोडक्टिव एसेट. 90% पीपल आर राइटिंग के देयर इज रिटर्न ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट. रिटर्न ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट इज द सेम. What is changing in this scenario? दिमाग लगाओ. It's not written on the board. If you don't know, say I don't know. Don't say wrong things. For this to happen in savings account, for this to happen in savings account, for this to happen in savings account, the condition was that there was 5% rate of interest. These things in the economy are not constant. Let's say 1 year later, government increases. अभी ये 10 साल की इन्वेस्टमेंट है, राइट? यहां भी 10 साल, यहां भी 10 साल. Let's say 1 year later, government increases rate of interest to from 5% to 7%. Government increases rate of interest to 7% after 1 year. Now in savings account, 8 lakhs will create a value of more than 10 lakhs in 10 years. पहले साल 5%, उसके बाद मुझे 7% मिलता गया. Now in savings account, 8 lakhs will give more than 10 lakh in 10 years. Yes or no? Right? Correct? Now, if this is the case, if this was originally the case, right? If this is the case that it was 7%, rate of interest was 7%, right? Now putting it in savings, now if I have 8 lakh rupees today, rate of interest is 7%. It is better to put it in savings account because savings account will make it 10 lakh or rather greater than 10 lakh. है ना? Savings account will now make it greater than 10 lakh. If rate of interest was 7%, originally if rate of interest was 7%, what should have been the value of this land? Less than 8 or more than 8? If rate of interest was originally 7%, not 5%, if it was originally 7%, what should have been the value of this land? Less than 8 or more than 8? Less than 8? How more than 8 yaar? Arey, chalo. If originally savings account was giving 7% rate of interest. Okay. Now from savings account at 7% rate of interest, I can say that if I invest 7 lakh rupees, it will become 10 lakh in 10 years. Right? Originally, if savings account was giving 7%, if I invest 8 lakh rupees, I will get 11 lakh. Just for understanding, 8 के 10 बन रहे थे, 8 के 11 बनेंगे, 2% rate of interest बढ़ गया, and 7 lakh rupees will give a return of 10 lakh rupees. If originally it was 7%, this is the value now. Now landowner comes and says, I have a plot of land that I want to sell for 5 lakh. In 10 years, it will give you 10 lakh. A goes to him, says, I will pay 6 lakh. B goes to him, says, I will pay 7 lakh. Will someone pay more than 7 lakh for this land now? Will someone pay more than 7 lakh for this land now? अब कोई पे करेगा? नहीं. अगर ओरिजिनली 7% रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट था तो इसकी वैल्यू कम हो गई. है ना? सो नाउ इफ वी लुक एट दिस केस, अब अगर हम इस केस को देखें, the value of my investment does not depend on the land whatsoever. Value of my investment in land depends on interest rates in the economy. I will stop here today. Value of my investment depends on interest rates in the economy. It does not depend on the land. अब इस केस में जो मैं आपसे पूछ रहा था, how to decide whether I should invest in this land or not. ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था ना आपसे, how to decide whether to invest in this. It depends on what I think will happen to the interest rate in the economy. If I think that interest rate in the economy is going to increase in the next 10 years, then this is a bad investment. If I think that interest rate in the economy is going to fall in the next 10 years, then this is a good investment. समझ आया? How to decide whether I should buy this land? आज इंटरेस्ट रेट 5% है. इफ आई थिंक इंटरेस्ट रेट विल स्टे एट 5%, तो इसको खरीदना ना खरीदना बराबर है. इफ आई थिंक 2 years later interest rate in the economy will become 7%, then this is a very bad decision. If I think 2 years later interest rate in the economy will become 3%, this is a very good decision. This is how you make investment decisions. Interest rate determines this. I do not care about expected future value. Expected future value is already accounted in current price. Expected future value की वजह से already current price बढ़ चुका है to the point where the return is similar to any other investment instrument. ध्यान से सुनो please, ध्यान से सुनो. The current value already takes into account the expected future value, so that the expected future value is accounted for in the present value, such that it is no more beneficial than any other rate of investment. कहीं भी इन्वेस्ट करो 8 से 10 ही दिख रहा होगा हर जगह, but this increase is constant, this increase is not constant. Now it merely depends on my ability to predict interest rates, whether I invest here or not. Why are investment bankers paid so highly? They are paid highly because they have the ability to predict interest rates in the economy. Right? But it's not that difficult of a job. Who decides interest rates? अब यहां पर I will not give any further investment advice because it's also not right. But at least you understand. कुछ सीखा आपने यहां पे? कुछ सीखा आपने यहां पे? This sort of demand for money, whether I decide I should invest or not, this is the speculative demand of money. This is not merely for transactioning. ये पैसा मैं ट्रांजैक्शनिंग के लिए नहीं मांग रहा हूं, ये मैं स्पेकुलेशन के लिए मांग रहा हूं. राइट? दिस इज स्पेकुलेटिव डिमांड ऑफ मनी. इसका फॉर्मूला हम कल डिराइव करेंगे. इसका फॉर्मूला कल डिराइव करने के बाद हम मनी का डिमांड सप्लाई कर्व बनाएंगे. Preeti, ideally that should be the case. We don't do that. Then if that, she's saying that current prices of coaching takes into account future return of getting into services, then it makes sense to have a course for 2.53 lakhs. अब आप देखोगे, अब इसी लॉजिक को हम कल समझेंगे, विद अ गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड. आपने बहुत क्वेश्चन देखे होंगे प्रीलिम्स में विद रिगार्ड्स टू यूएस फेड ने रेट कट कर दिया, गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड की यील्ड को क्या होगा. राइट? वी विल अंडरस्टैंड द सेम लॉजिक टुमारो with the help of a government bond. What is government bond? How that logic will come, that is important for you to that we will understand tomorrow. Right? इस speculative demand को हम कल समझेंगे. ठीक है? All right. Somebody is asking me what is my prediction for US federal rate cut. Even if I have a prediction telling you, will ruin whatever potential gains I can make from it. है ना? चलो, anyway, have a good evening. See you. Bye bye.